All right, so Michigan, Wisconsin, just about set to go here in Ann Arbor. Closing in on game time, and for Juwan Howard, it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Juwan Howard. He turns 51 today, hoping to get a win against a top 15 team in the country.
Juwan Howard most certainly would love a birthday present in the form of a win here, huh, Matthew?
Yes, he would. I mean, this team has struggled so much, and Juwan Howard said in his press conference this week, you know, we don't want to be in last place. I've never been near last place. They're in last, and this is, you know, not the biggest crowd on tonight, so he's got to earn back the trust of this Michigan team, and it all starts with a win against Wisconsin.
That's exactly right, you know, and one thing he also mentioned in that press conference was he was considering playing the walk-ons, the non-scholarship players. Of course, that might just be more of a figure of speech, but a testament to the drive and the engagement that he wants out of his players. You know, when you've struggled with blowing these first-half leads, it not only speaks to maybe some mistakes within the game, but also the buy-in of his players. You mentioned him hoping for maybe a form of birthday present, as we've just talked about. Well, win or loss, a great birthday present nevertheless would be seeing a level of buy-in for this team and from this team.
And for Wisconsin, they roll out their usual lineup. It'll be A.J. Storr, Chucky Hepburn, Tyler Wall, who had a big game against Purdue, his season high in points. They've also got Max Klessman, and they'll roll with A.J. Storr as well. So those five, A.J. Storr, again, the transfer who's been so good for this team. Tyler Wall, kind of that bruiser on the offensive glass. Max Klessman, a shooter from downtown. It makes a lot of moves. This team, they're built through their offense. They play at a slow tempo. So it'll be interesting to see how Michigan deals with that pace from Wisconsin. So we are just about set to go. Michigan, Wisconsin. Reed and Kroll will take the tip live from the Crisler Center. All right, and we are underway. Michigan, Wisconsin. As Wisconsin wins the tip, and Chucky Hepburn will swing it over to the left side to Stephen Kroll, Tarris Reed. That matchup, we talked about it in the pregame. How does Tarris Reed do against the big 7-footer? Here's Tyler Wall on the left side, guarded by Kamwa. Now here's Hepburn going down the lane. Hepburn settles for a mid-range, doesn't go. Rebound, fought for, and will stay with the Badgers.
I like that defensive pressure there from Tarris Reed, something we touched on, like you just said, Matthew. Not necessarily the end result Michigan wants with it staying in Wisconsin. Nevertheless, they'll get another opportunity here.
So Wisconsin will get it. Here's a three-pointer in the corner, and it is good. A.J. Storr off the inbound makes it 3-0 Michigan. McDaniel has it on the top. McDaniel making his move, doubled, kicks it out left side. Here's the take inside. Burnett stops, pops, and scores.
Excellent take there by Burnett. He's going to need to be on all night if Michigan can keep up with this blistering Wisconsin offense.
Here's Hepburn. Right side, gives it inside to Kroll. He's got one-on-one versus Tarris Reed in the post. He'll go to work. Kroll banging bodies. Kroll spinning, turning, he traveled.
That's the start you want to see for Tarris Reed. We're talking about bringing the energy, bringing the weight room to the court tonight.
McDaniel, again, suspended. Doesn't play on the road, or hasn't in a while. But he's played in his second consecutive game after a home game versus Rutgers as he throws one up, a little hook shot, and gets it to go. Wisconsin now controlling. Storr, bad pass. Tarris Reed on the breakaway, slams it down.
Forget a block. All you need is the steal. Tarris Reed fast on his feet. Maybe not always what someone would expect for him, but 2 points nevertheless.
John, you're on right now. Tarris Reed, what a start for him defensively. A steal, a good defensive possession against the big men of Wisconsin. Here's Storr up top. Kroll gives it. Hepburn. Hepburn makes his move. Nice feed inside. Kroll bobbled it. Couldn't hold on. Turnover. McDaniel. Over 2 minutes gone by. 6-3 Michigan. Kamwa. Had a chance. Gets inside the post. Working on Wall. Kamwa working. He traveled. Move that left pivot foot. and it'll be Wisconsin basketball.
That's one of those plays you never like seeing it happen when the ball's in your hands. The travel for a travel here as Wisconsin gets a little bit of a bailout for their mistake earlier.
Here's the feed inside. Here is Wall working. Blocked by Reed. He had 5 blocks against Rutgers and gets his first of the night. McDaniel the other way. Waiting. Floater doesn't go. On the left side, and now Wall looks to push. A 5-on-4 developing. Hepburn steps into a wide open 3 and knocks it down. Chucky Hepburn ties the game at 6.
Not necessarily what you want to see here in Michigan. Doug McDaniel wants to look for a foul, but you got to get back on defense.
Reed controlling top of the key. Gives it off to McDaniel. Now left side Burnett. Williams back to Burnett. Gets the screen. Burnett driving left side. Kicks it out. Kama with 10 on the shot clock. Kama makes his move inside. Offensive foul. What a play by Max Klesmit.
That's one of those fouls you don't want to see. Michigan attacking the left wing early, it seems, whether it's McDaniel, whether it's Kama and Amari Burnett getting some lefty action in there too. Wisconsin doing the right thing, standing tall, frustrating this Michigan offense.
Game is tied at 6. Fun start inside Crisler Center. Here's Hepburn, gets the screen, kicks it back out. Nolan Winter checking into the game for the Badgers as the move from Storr using that body doesn't get the shot to go, and Michigan back the other way. Here's McDaniel. Hesitates. To the rim. Doug McDaniel scoop layup.
2 scoops for Doug McDaniel there. An excellent play.
Here's Wall in attack mode. Tyler Wall layup. Easy layup to tie the game at 8. Eight apiece. Here's McDaniel, makes his move with the screen from Reed, kicks it out. Kama, open 3, top of the K, doesn't go. Rebound to A.J. Storr, the transfer from St. John's. Inside, Storr, left hand, doesn't go. Rebound, Kama. Kama looks to push. Olivier Kama kicks it, corner, deflected, but Burnett gets it back, feeds it inside. Terrace Reed slams it down.
What an excellent play by Namari Burnett there. He's had some success driving on that left wing, but to dish it out for the 2 points shows his growth on this team this season.
Here's Winter. Gives it off. Now it's Wall. Here's the spin, Storr, and the foul. A.J. Storr with the spin move gets the layup to go, and Wisconsin will have a chance to take the lead.
You know, Matthew, what I'm seeing out here early is Michigan's hanging tough with Wisconsin, but a lot of their defensive points hit allowed have come from the inside, something you don't always want to see. It looks like at times Michigan is the lighter of the 2 bodies clashing here down low.
And how about A.J. Storr? I can't rave about him enough. The way he gets to his spot, the way he attacks these Michigan defenders, he's been impressive early with 5 of the 10 for the Badgers.
You know, A.J. Storr shooting at about a 32% clip from deep thus far. He can stretch the paint, but like you said, Matthew, what I love about his game is his ability to pick the angles. The first thing you're taught playing basketball growing up, anyone can drive, anyone can run fast with the ball, but it's the craftiness inside to attack angles and accuracy that separates him from the pack.
And I want to go back to Terrace Reed because, you know, coming into this year, he had such big shoes to fill with Hunter Dickinson, obviously transferring from Kansas. We've seen some up and downs. Over the past couple games, though, right, he has a block tonight. He had 5 versus Rutgers. He's kind of shown a little bit more promise than really he has all season long.
Exactly, and Hunter Dickinson, those were big shoes to fill, and you're right on to say that, Matthew, but at the same time, one thing that Terrace can provide that we've alluded to a number of times is a little bit of a more defensive presence. Of course, Hunter Dickinson known for his offensive prowess, working out of the low block, working out of the post. But if Terrace can continue to build that offensive game, if he can even maybe add a short jump shot somewhere from something like the elbow, these are the things that can eventually allow him to grow into a bigger role.
And for both teams right now, it feels like they're kind of getting whatever they want. Do you feel, because it's 10-10 early, I mean, coming into this game, I expected a high-scoring affair. It feels like it go to 100 right now. It's 10-10 through 4 minutes.
You're exactly right. No one's going to confuse Michigan for a lockdown defensive team, that's for sure. Wisconsin, as we talked about in the pregame, plays with pace, but that doesn't mean if you see an angle or an opportunity, you're not going to take it. You're not going to be arbitrarily slow at the risk of missing a bucket. Right now, Michigan's porous defense is being exploited by Wisconsin, and they're just able to kind of hang tough.
Michigan so far on defense, according to defensive rating, 349. Not so good. Wisconsin, again, as I said, in the top 35 at 32. So that's a big mismatch. It's going to really come down to, can Michigan keep up offensively? So far, so good.
Exactly, and Terrace Reed is the one who set the tone, as we've talked about, a block, a steal, a forced travel. These are the things that need to serve as lessons for other players on the court. It takes 5 men to make that fist, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to step up and be influenced by Terrace Reed, this Michigan team's going to struggle. But if Reed can be a leader, if others can buy in, that's where they're going to find success.
So A.J. Storr will have a free throw to take the lead for Wisconsin. Again, just over 4.5 gone by in this first half. Michigan 10, Wisconsin 10. Storr at the line, knocks it home, and Wisconsin will take their first lead.
Will Shetter now. He's a guy who's been shooting at a high clip, perhaps someone who can get this Michigan offense hot throughout the game.
So here's McDaniels. Up top, Burnett. McDaniel now feeds it inside on the left wing. Terrace Reed immediately doubled, gets out of the double. Terrace Reed to the rim, gets the foul called, so he'll go to the line for 2. So Nolan Winter will commit the foul, and Terrace Reed will go to the line for 2 free throws. He's 56% from the line this season. Because the first one does not go. Reed's second goes as one of 2. Excuse my playing words there. So it is 11-11. Just 5 minutes gone by in this first half. Here's Blackwell checking into the game for the first time tonight. Here's the feed. Asigian inside, kicks it back out. Blackwell open 3. No. Rebound fought for. Walled, battling with Reed, and McDaniel comes away with it. Here comes Michigan the other way. McDaniel kicks it to Williams, left side. Williams into the post, working on Asigian. Williams pumps, fade away, got it. Terrence Williams on the board for his first 2, and Michigan back up 13-11. Here's Chucky. Winter gives it to Asigian. Now back right side, Hepburn, the take, the finish, got it. Chucky Hepburn working on Namari Burnett and gets an easy layup for 2.
And what have we talked about all night, Matthew? Those angles of attack, that big body play has allowed Wisconsin to succeed thus far.
McDaniel gets the screen, gives it off to Cheddar, who enters the game for the first time. Cheddar on the right side, looks to attack on Wall. Cheddar in the post. Cheddar banging bodies, doubled, kicks it out. Burnett, three-pointer, got it.
And what an offensive onslaught early for Michigan, really being able to compete with this Wisconsin defense.
Wall swings it over to Blackwell. Back to Winter. Winter gives it off. Hepburn, right side. Hepburn kicks it. Corner. Here is Asigian. Pumps. Looks to drive. Asigian gives it off to Blackwell. The pass gets deflected and will go back to Michigan.
Michigan gets a lucky bounce there, but Namari Burnett was caught sleeping at the left wing, watching the ball, not watching his own man. Those are the types of plays that aren't always going to swing your way, especially in a tight contest that we're going to get to see go down the stretch.
Marcus Silver will check in his first action for the Badgers tonight as they do a platoon substitution almost. Here's Olivier Kamwa, top of the key, gives it off to Doug McDaniel. McDaniel gives it, Kamwa. Left side, Kamwa in the post on Wall. Kamwa fakes, spins, fade away, doesn't go. Asigian gives it off to Klesmith the other way. Klesmit gets the screen, gives it off. Here's the Sejan in attack mode, gives it, and the bucket is good. Marcus Silver. Marcus Ilver for 2, and the lead is down to 1. Kamwa looking, hands it off. McDaniel back to Williams on the handoff. Williams back to McDaniel, 10 on the shot clock. McDaniel's got to make a play, settles for 3. No, didn't get anything. And now a foul is called. I think it's going to be a rebounding call against Wisconsin on Ilver. And Michigan will keep the basketball.
Michigan with a lucky bailout there. McDaniel kind of just jacking a 3 from the top of the key. Not the shot choice Juwan Howard wants to see.
Williams pumps, now takes it and misses all of it. But a rebound to Cheddar. Now Cheddar kicks it out. Kamwa thought about the 3, now takes it. Kamwa for 3. He's got it. Olivier Kamwa. 19-15 lead for Michigan. Here's Klesmit. Now back outside, gives it off Kral, back to Klesmit. Now it's Storr, he'll settle for 3. Didn't get anything. Back outside, a Sejan, back to Storr. Storr in attack mode, foul on the floor against Terrence Williams.
You know, the foul on the floor is going to keep the ball with Wisconsin here, but what I liked out of Doug McDaniel on this defensive possession was his ferocity. He tries to double in the corner alongside, I believe it was Terrence Williams the second, and what does the Michigan defense do? Something it has struggled with all season, shifting bodies, switching men when necessary. McDaniel initially out of position when going for that double on the loose ball. In the end, though, it ends up with a foul, but no bucket.
So Michigan with a 19-15 lead, and they've been in this position before, John. They've been here. They've taken leads in the first half. The question is, can they hold on? And their defense particularly has struggled to keep that lead. So far, so good. They've done a much better job tonight against a really good Wisconsin defense.
You're exactly right. 4 turnovers for Wisconsin. Their offense has been flummoxed a little bit thus far against a Michigan defense that, of course, is not necessarily known as bag-breaking. And I think to keep it going, it's about the composure, it's about the give. It's something that almost feels repetitive, frustrating to hear over and over again. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not going to buy in, you're never going to find success.
So on Juwan Howard's birthday, Michigan off to a good start, 19-15, the team high. Namari Burnett with 5. Olivier Kamwa getting his first bucket to go from 3 just moments ago to increase that lead. Doug McDaniel with 4 points, 2 for 4 from the field. Michigan as a whole shooting very well, 61.5%. Wisconsin at 50% field goal-wise, and both teams are 50% from 3. You know, that pace, we've seen that pace. I've seen it, you know, against Michigan State, against Rutgers, where Michigan is shooting very well, over 60%. The question is, does that hold? It seems, though, so far, they're getting open shots.
Exactly right, and I think it starts with Doug McDaniel. He has that ability to work off the pick and roll, drive on his own, suck defenders in, and kick it out. We saw that happen with a number of plays. But what I'd love to see out of this Michigan offense, and something that, in my personal opinion, ends up happening when McDaniel's off the floor, is who is your offensive fire starter when McDaniel or Kamwa aren't getting it done? McDaniel especially being a primary ball handler.
And one of the guys could be Jalen Llewellyn. He's been struggling with injuries. He had a torn ACL last season, but he comes back in the game. And, you know, against Michigan State in that first half, he shows some spurts.
You're exactly right. You know, Matthew, I think someone like Jalen Llewellyn is a guy who doesn't necessarily get his flowers enough. You know, Michigan basketball not necessarily having the season it desires, but this is a guy who's battled back and hasn't complained. Played with a brace, as everyone saw against Illinois earlier this season. He came out there looking like an offensive lineman, not a point guard. But the fact of the matter is, he is a guy who has skill and experience now in a multi-year senior role coming as a transfer out of Princeton. He has the eye to play the game, the mind to play the game, and it's something that Michigan could use a whole lot of.
Well, he looks to be coming back on the floor for the Wolverines. Another guy that, you know, we've seen a lot and who can shoot the 3 very well as well. It's Will Cheddar, and he's really been a spark for this Michigan team. Whenever he's on the floor, he's a fan favorite, and I expect him to be a big contributor if Michigan were to hold on against the number 11th ranked team in the country.
Exactly right. Will Cheddar, 57% from three. It's something that feels almost like an anomaly for a guy who didn't play much his freshman year at all and then saw limited action last season, but it shows how much Michigan trusts him in just a short time.
Chucky Hepburn off the inbound, gets it to Storr, and Storr is fouled on the floor as he makes the bucket, but it will be on the floor. That will be Michigan's fourth.
Michigan fouls to number 2, Trey Jackson. That's his first personal.
You know, the best thing that Wisconsin could have done was probably play Purdue and the huge Zach Edey for their own physicality.
Here's Klesmet off the inbound. Klesmet working on Llewellyn. Klesmet spinning, turning, and he traveled. Trying to beat Jalen Llewellyn. He does a nice job there to force the turnover.
And that's that mind of Jalen Llewellyn. He's been around the block. He's not going to bite on a little bit of a pump fake. Sits there, and that travel is the pay dirt.
Here's Jalen Llewellyn. Up top, coming into the game, Trey Jackson, the Seton Hall transfer. Now it's Doug McDaniel looking to attack. McDaniel showing off those nifty moves. Cheddar gives it off Llewellyn. Llewellyn with some space, but that was caused from a illegal screen from Will Cheddar.
Will Cheddar throwing his hands up, maybe a little incredulous, thinking that that wasn't a penalty. But to answer a more fully formed thought that I kind of dropped earlier, I think the best thing that could have happened for this Wisconsin team was that Purdue loss. You play Zach Edey, you play the big bodies that Matt Painter's Purdue team loves to run out there, and now they're giving it to Michigan.
It's interesting, this Wisconsin team looked like early they would be competing with Purdue for that Big Ten spot. But so far, they've kind of fallen off just a bit with those 2 straight losses. Here's Hepburn. Gives it off. Crowell. Crowell working on Kamwa. Crowell finds position, but Olivier Kamwa, great defense underneath, and he looks to push. Gives it off. Llewellyn, 3, left side. Missed all of it. A really good sequence from Olivier Kamwa, but Michigan can't cash it.
Exactly right. You can't hate on an open shot, a three-pointer in that kind of corner wing area by Llewellyn, but that's one you'd love to see cashed in to build up that lead before the second half.
Michigan leads by 4, 19-15, 10:40 to go in this first half. Here's Klesmet on the attack, and Wall on the screen, but it's called against Namari Burnett. Will Cheddar's not happy about that one.
Yeah, Will Cheddar throwing his hands together, and I don't know what he did to the referee, but it seems like he's keying in on any screen that Will Cheddar has his hands on.
Back-to-back fouls against Will Cheddar. So Michigan up to a team total of 6. So the next foul Michigan commits, Wisconsin will go to the line for 2. Here's Wall, gives it off. Storr on attack mode. Storr pumps and draws the foul against Trey Jackson.
Now that's a play that you can compare 2 Wolverines, 2 different tales there. Trey Jackson jumps on that shot, drawing to a foul, whereas Jalen Llewellyn just 2 drives ago sat on it, a travel ensued, and instead of free throws, Michigan had the ball themselves.
So A.J. Storr, the leading scorer tonight, as he's been all season. He's got a chance to get up to 8 and cut this lead to 2. First one is good. Storr's second will go as Wisconsin cuts the lead to 2. Michigan up to 7 personal fouls, so every foul from now on out will be at least free throws. Here's Llewellyn. Feeds it to Kamwa. Kamwa gives it off. Trey Jackson. Jackson settles. Mid-range. Doesn't go. Rebound Crowell. Wall looking to push. Tyler Wall gives it off. Hepburn using the Wall screen. Now patient. This Wisconsin team over 300th in the country in tempo, and that time Stephen Crowell through bodies. The layup is good to tie the game at 19.
Excellent take by Stephen Crowell. 1-on-2, it feels like a little bit of a hockey term or a fast break term, not something that comes out of a layup.
Here's the take inside. Doug McDaniel on the drive and gets it to go to give Michigan the lead. Here's Wall. Pace is definitely higher than Wisconsin usually plays. Crowell gives it off. Hepburn in the post on McDaniel. Hepburn lost the basketball, and now it's going to be a kick, I think, against Wisconsin. So Chucky Hepburn, I think, kicked the basketball, resulting in a Wisconsin turnover.
You're right, Matthew. From our vantage point, I kind of thought it might have been Olivier Kamwa who got too much soccer on it right there, but all the same, the Wolverines will take it. I love the hand action by Doug McDaniel to poke that ball loose or at least bring old Chuck Hepburn into some sort of uncomfortable situation. Now Michigan gets a chance to extend that lead.
Doug McDaniel, over half gone by in this first half. Michigan 21, Wisconsin 19, as the take from McDaniel once again to increase that lead up to 4. Nice move from Dougie McDaniel. Here's Blackwell off the dribble handoff, and a foul committed against Jalen Llewellyn. So Blackwell will now go to the line for a 1-and-1 opportunity.
Wisconsin hitting the film room, hitting the history books well. They know Michigan struggles with these on-ball screens. Of course, we've seen at least 3 fouls committed by the Wolverines tonight on the on-ball screen. And now, forget taking a shot. They get a free attempt at points off the line.
So here's John Blackwell. He's been impressive for Wisconsin. The freshman makes the first. And, in a team full of veterans to carve out playing time on a team that Wisconsin really, they don't love to, play those freshmen all the time, but he has earned his minutes. First guy off the bench usually with Connor Asijan, but he misses that second free throw. Trying to hype him up there. Doesn't work. Here's McDaniel. Takes the 3. Dougie McDaniel creating space and knocking down the 3.
Doug McDaniel feeling it here earlier prior to that three-pointer. 2 back-to-back acrobatic layups. He's like a gymnast up there. Somebody call Bev Plocky.
Here's Winter on the dribble handoff as Storr now swings it over to Blackwell. Blackwell takes the 3. No. Rebound, Terrace Reed. Michigan leads by 6, 26-20. McDaniel on the attack. McDaniel kicks it out. Llewellyn back. Wide open 3. Top of the key. Doesn't go from Olivier Kamwa. Here comes Chucky Hepburn the other way. Hepburn gets the screen from Winter. Now Wall. Wall in attack mode. Tyler Wall against Reed. Tyler Wall spinning, turning, now kicks it out. Open 3, Winter, no. Rebound to Reed.
This defense flows through Terrace Reed. That was the same exact style of play that drew a travel earlier. Instead, it's a defensive rebound.
McDaniel feeds it to Kamwa. Kamwa makes his move. Immediately double. Nice play from Chucky Hepburn, but the ball goes out of bounds. It will stay with Michigan. We go to the under 8 media timeout. Michigan up 26-20.
Matthew Chucky Hepburn kind of sent into the wall there. We can see it from here pretty clearly. He's up and moving now completely fine, but what I've loved out of this Michigan team is they've fed the hot hand. Right now that hot hand is, well, who else than Doug McDaniel? But the fact of the matter is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, he's been excellent attacking the paint. I'm curious to see, how Wisconsin adjusts defensively. They didn't really have to deal with that when they played, Purdue, right? They're built through Zach Edey, and that allowed a lot of open Braden Smith jumpers. It wasn't him attacking the rim. But right now, that's where Wisconsin struggles. Interior defense, and Doug McDaniel is certainly taking advantage of that.
Exactly right. Doug McDaniel has a unique capacity to exploit those drive and kick moments. It's an entirely different style of defense. Of course, when you're down low and you send a ball out to the 3 points is 3 points all the same. But when there's that risk of a layup or a take by Doug McDaniel, it makes your defensive analysis all the more different.
And Michigan had that opportunity down here when Doug McDaniel drived, kicked it out, and it resulted in Olivier Kamwa 3, and he just couldn't knock it down.
Exactly right. Olivier Kamwa, you miss a couple threes. I think he has 2 missed threes, 1 made to his name thus far today. You want to see him keep shooting. If he can continue to prove that he can stroke it from behind the arc, that's the sort of play that opens up a 5-out offense for this Michigan team. Well, more so a 4-1, frankly. Terrace Reed, maybe not always the greatest three-point shooter ever, but it's the type of thing that diversifies this Juwan Howard offense and allows them to maintain their offensive prowess throughout the game.
And I want to hit on this. So Tyler Wall, he had 20 points. He was excellent in that Purdue game, keeping him in it till the end. Right now he only has 2 points, and I think Michigan's did a pretty good job on him.
Exactly right, and we've talked a lot about Terrace Reed, but I'd like to touch on Will Shetter. That's a guy who's had his moments down low where he's had to step up defensively. Shetter, of course, a big 6'8", 6'9" body, but not necessarily the heaviest guy, a bit of a slender figure out there. To see him step up defensively, battle down low with all of Wisconsin's bigs has really been a sign of his own personal growth.
Michigan up 6, 7:49 to go in this first quarter. We're in a media timeout as Michigan leads by 6. And, it's such a different feel. Michigan has just done, and I keep harping on this point, because it's really the story of this team so far this season. As Jordan Poole goes up on the Jumbotron here at Crisler Center. But they've taken these first half leads. They've been here before. They did it against Rutgers. They did it against Michigan State. They just can't close it out. They really just can't.
You're exactly right, and I think it's a testament to teams like Wisconsin. They've been down at the half before, like any team. The thing that they do differently, though, or I should say that Michigan doesn't do differently, is adjust. It's one thing to have a lead in the first half. It's a whole other thing to come back and have to rebound from whatever happened in the first.
And who do you think those adjustments fall on? I'm not trying to blame anyone, but I'm curious because a lot of people blame Juwan Howard. We can get to this point in just a minute as Michigan will take possession. Jackson will inbound. Lobs it up for Kamwa, and it's turned over. Tyler Wall just snatched that basketball. Here's Klesmith driving down the right side. Gives it off. Storr has it. Settles. Three-pointer. A.J. Storr doesn't go. Rebound, Olivier Kamwa. Llewellyn doubled off the screen. Llewellyn now finds some space for 3. Knocks it home. Jalen Llewellyn for 3. And the lead's up to 9. Timeout, Wisconsin.
And this is that moment that we were just talking about. It hasn't happened exactly when we planned it. We'll have a timeout instead of a first half break, so to speak. But I think the adjustments really at some point have to fall on the players too at some point. You can blame any coach you want, but these players, to respect them as well. They're Division I basketball players. They've played at high-level basketball throughout their entire life. They know what it's like to play with a lead. They know what it's like to play from behind. And at a certain point, it's up to them to chase those balls, chase the loose balls, go for fighting rebounds, do the things that seem marginal, seem minuscule at the time, but build to a bigger ending.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, a lot of people are out there blaming coaches, but at some point it's both guys. It's the coaches and the players. As Wisconsin will have possession on the right side out of bounds. Or excuse me, down on the baseline. I thought Sejan was inbounding and he was not. Here's Klesmith. Blackwell back to Klesmith. Now swings it across to Muskegon, Michigan in a, looks like a zone now. As right to work, Tyler Wall. A really good job by Stephen Crow to hedge off the lane, and he gets an easy 2.
A lazy zone defense, something that Michigan has done at times this season, and I really, truly can't tell you why they make this choice. They were successful with man-to-man already.
Here's Llewellyn, gives off to Jackson, and an errant pass. So Wisconsin will regain possession.
And these are the moments where you wonder, well, how does Michigan lose these leads? How do these things just dissipate? A weak zone defense leads to 2 easy points. A disgruntled Michigan team then turns the ball over.
Stephen Crow gives it off to Wall, top. Now off the screen, a siege into the rim. Layup doesn't go. Good defense from Terrence Williams. And here comes Michigan. Kamwa looking to attack, gives it off. Jackson pumps from 3, drives it inside. He's fouled.
Good sell there by Jackson. You know, it's of course going to be a foul, but he threw his arms out and really emphasized what was going on, and now he'll get 2 at the line.
He was almost losing control of the basketball as he was taking it to the lane, but gets the foul, so he'll go to the line. You know, Trey Jackson and Amari Burnett, 2 grad transfers, supposedly giving this team, along with Olivier Kamwa, those 3 giving this team some experience, some veteran leadership. As Jackson makes the first. It hasn't gone the way that Michigan would like. A local kid, born and raised in Detroit. As McDaniel will check back in.
And it's hard to mention Michigan transfers without discussing Caleb Love, who's finding some pretty good success at Arizona.
Maybe a point of blame for Michigan fans.
Hard to not emphasize enough. They missed on Terrence Shannon. They missed on Caleb Love, both for admissions issues, things that would have drastically reshaped Juwan Howard's team.
Both those players, number 1 options for 2 top 15 teams in the country, in Illinois and Arizona. Here's Hepburn. Looking to attack, gets the screen. Hepburn trying to find some space, can't get any. Now with 10 on the shot clock. Hepburn feeds it inside the right post. Here's Crow making his move. Crow working on Reed, banging bodies. He's immediately doubled. Crow can't find anyone. Crow, and it'll be a foul. Wow!
And this is the loudest it's been in Crisler all night, not with cheers, but with boos.
Wow. Thoughts?
Terrace Reed definitely does get his arm in there, a little bit of incidental contact. He'd, of course, like to have it back. Crisler Center disagreeing vociferously. But at the end, like it or lump it, it's 2 attempts. Or 1 and 1, I should say, for Wisconsin.
The 9th foul against Michigan as Crow will make the first. Lead is cut to 8.
Checking in from Wisconsin, number 14, Carter Gilmore.
So Carter Gilmore checks in for the first time tonight. Another key bench piece for the Badgers. 6:07 to go. Stephen Crow misses the second, and a rebound to Kamwa, and here comes Michigan.
Normally you don't hear that many boos on a free throw attempt, Matt, huh?
Yeah, I mean, finally some energy in the crowd. Love it. Crowd into it. Michigan up 8 against a top 15 team. Here's Kamwa, but McDaniel was fouled on the pass. I think it's against... Yeah, it was against Stephen Crow, so crowd reacts to that. I'm assuming that's why they reacted in a way they did.
Not sure if that's a little bit of a makeup call there. I didn't see a whole lot of contact, Matt.
Me neither. Here's the inbound from the baseline. McDaniel will sub out George Washington. Nope. George Washington, the freshman, will take the out of bounds. Gives it off to Reed. Reed to McDaniel. Dribble handoff. McDaniel lost it for a second. Now resets. McDaniel now in attack mode. Trying to get past Hepburn, and that's going to be a tie-up. Wow. Crowd not reacting kindly to that.
No, not at all. The black and white stripes here at Crisler Center are not looking to make any friends. They're looking to make the right call. I did see a pretty strong arm there on the ball by the Wisconsin defender, trying to get a better look at the number here, but not exactly what they want to see, those in Crisler.
I think they're more complaining about that no call on the other end as Terrence Williams with 3, or that call, doesn't go, and a rebound to Crow. Up to Klesmit. Lead is at 8. 5:30 to go. Klesmit finds some space for 3. Goes! Max Klesmit. Lead down to 5. McDaniel gets the screen. Kicks it over. Williams gives it off to Reed. Reed immediately doubled. Reed spins. Baseline. Nice move inside. Draws the foul.
Terrence Reed looking for a little double clutch up and under there. Maybe not necessarily his bag per se, being a bit of a bigger body there, but love to see the attempt. Of course, Terrence Reed not necessarily known for his free throw shooting capabilities, but the Wolverines will take the opportunity nonetheless.
Reed will go to the line for 2. First one doesn't go.
Checking in for the Badgers, 31, Nolan Winter.
Reed trying to get the lead up to 6. He's been good tonight. 5 points, couple rebounds. Has a block in there, a steal as well in 11 minutes. Reed gets the second, and it is 32-26. Michigan applying a little pressure, and Wisconsin easily breaks it. Gilmore, Blackwell, Hepburn, Washington on him. Now back to Winter, swings it across. Now it's Hepburn. Hepburn looking to make his move. He's doubled. He's trying to find some space. Now fades away. Shot doesn't go. Rebound to Kamwa. Hepburn trying to apply pressure on McDaniel. He fades off, and now McDaniel going to work. McDaniel, crossover, and yeah, he stepped out of bounds.
McDaniel looking to get a little aggressive there. It's that same aggression that you're going to have to live with if you're Michigan. It's the same acrobatics that can get you 2 points or get you a jump stop out of bounds.
And I think he was looking for a foul call. I didn't see any type of contact that would warrant one as well. Here's Gilmore, Carter Gilmore, giving it off. Klesmit, Blackwell, Hepburn. 4:25 to go. Hepburn gets the screen from Winter. Reed hedging the screen. Now No one to find. Now gets it inside. Winter working on Como. The give to Blackwell, who gets it inside for 2. Jalen Llewellyn control the point guard duties. Llewellyn gives it off to Como. Como give and go. Llewellyn double clutch, gets it to go, and the lead's back up to 6.
The handoff won Michigan a national championship, and of course there's not a natty here tonight, but they'll take the 2 points all the same. Michigan football a national championship, I should say.
And the Michigan bench right there wanted to travel against Winter. They don't get it as Gilmore drives inside, kicks it back out. Hepburn thought about the 3, now will attack. Hepburn inside, easily beating Jalen Llewellyn for 2.
Chucky Hepburn just so elusive there. He's got a twitchiness to him that makes it so difficult to defend.
Michigan has made 5 of their last 7 field goals, trying to make it 6 for 8. Here's Llewellyn inside to Como. Como working on a nice matchup right here against Gilmore's. Como got blocked, trying to force up a shot. Hepburn back the other way. Winter fakes the handoff, now drives inside, and a foul against Terrace Reed.
That one a little more difficult to see the call on. It seemed like Terrace Reed's arm got caught up in the attack mode there. Michigan certainly not winning the foul battle in this first half.
No, they are not. As Michigan leads by 4, 34-30, 2:55 to go, and immediate timeout on the floor. Is we've gone back and forth here as Michigan continues to keep that lead in the first half. It's been a great night from Doug McDaniel so far. He's got 11 and leading the Michigan team in double figures.
You're exactly right. And what I've loved from Doug McDaniel and what I want to see more of him is that risk-taking, is that creativity. I think at times he's only a sophomore. That's what people forget. And I think in the age of the Dukes and the UNCs and those schools of the world, you can anticipate a guy coming in as a freshman and being a star. And there's a certain lack of patience that can be given to certain players, especially when Juwan Howard has the lights on, the bright lights here of Crisler perhaps starting to sizzle a little too hot as fans don't enjoy what they're seeing. Doug McDaniel still needs to learn. He still needs patience from fans and from himself. And, of course, he's having a great night tonight. A couple of turnovers, steps out of bounds to boot. But you have to take with the good with the bad and hope he can continue to progress.
And we've seen, as bad as this Michigan team is on the standings, in first halves, right, let's call it like we see it, they've been good. They're competing with the top teams in the country when fully healthy. They did it on the road without Doug McDaniel against Michigan State. They did it at home against Rutgers. They've done it a couple other times this season. They held it out against Ohio State earlier this month. But they've held their own in the first half. It's the second half that has affected them. Is that due to the youngness of Doug McDaniel? Does he kind of fall off late in games? Or do you kind of blame maybe the veteran leadership that they've tried to bring in to patch this thing together?
I think it's certainly a mix of both, Matt. You look at Terrace Reed, who's your anchor on the defensive end, Doug McDaniel, your leading scorer on the other, both sophomores. They haven't had the time to contribute and ingratiate themselves into college football as much as perhaps a team like Wisconsin, which thrives on older players. Simultaneously, though, you have to say a number of grad transfers who we've touched upon earlier tonight, they need to come in and be able to set the tone for this Michigan team. Of course, it takes time to gel and find an identity, but the fact of the matter is, if you're not able to bring it all together into one mix, you have an absent veteran leadership combined with a youth still looking to find their identity, and the result is these blown second-half leads.
2:55 to go in this first half. Michigan up 4, 34-30. We're just about to see free throws from Nolan Winter. He'll go to the line. Wisconsin now in the bonus plus area of the game, so they'll get 2 free throws on any foul. No one-on-ones anymore. And Nolan Winter, one of the bench pieces, another freshman for the Wisconsin team. So 2 really valuable contributors as freshmen. And Blackwell and Winter both off the bench as he makes the first. Second one doesn't go. Rebound to Kamwa. Leads down to 3, under 3 to go. Jalen Llewellyn, pressure by Chucky. Llewellyn can't find any space right now. Now gives it off to Williams, left side. Reed trying to post stuff, can't get it to him. Now Conwell, Michigan pretty late in their set, 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Jackson trying to make his move. Good D from Tyler Wall with 4. Jackson pumps, jumper, doesn't go, rebound to Reed. Reed lost it on the floor, and now that's going to be a jump. And that possession will go to the Badgers.
Good on Terrace Reed to hit the dirt and try to recover the fumble. They'll take a jump ball over a turnover. Now the next, the possession arrow will point the way of the Wolverine the next time this occurrence comes up. But still, you got to go up with that straight up. If you're Terrace Reed, you can't bring it down low and look for a dribble.
Hepburn, Wall, Storr. 3 of the top leaders on this Wisconsin team. Now here's Wall on the post against Conwell. Wall can't get any position. Gives it off. Klessman back to Wall. Wall makes a spin. Easy layup past Olivier Conwell, and the lead's down to 1. McDaniel back in the game. He'll control the point guard duties. Cheddar in now. Trying to find Conwell, cannot. Now it's Jackson who lost the basketball. Gives it right back to McDaniel. 13 on the shot clock. Much better defense from Wisconsin. 10 to go. Jackson back to McDaniel. McDaniel stops, pops for 3, doesn't go. Hit the front rim, deflected off the hands of Will Cheddar, and will go back to the Badgers.
And ever since that timeout that we talked about, Matthew, the Badgers have looked so much more stout on defense. That same offensive presence that they had all game, but now coupled with a newly invigorated D.
A storm starting to come for the Wolverines. It feels like these are the times when they start to lose that lead as Chucky Hepburn gets inside, working on McDaniel. Good D from Dougie, and here comes Michigan. Williams in control. Gives it off to McDaniel. Cheddar left side, gives it inside the post, give and go, Cheddar, and the foul! Will Cheddar. Just as I say the storm's coming, Will Cheddar holds it off for just a moment.
Will Cheddar not getting as much usage today as maybe in perhaps other games, but it's great to see him get that and one, and maybe that's a piece that you can get going now in the second half. He can have a little bit of confidence to contribute.
So 2 more defensive-oriented players, Jalen Llewellyn and Terrace Reed out. McDaniel and Cheddar make the play in substitution form. Cheddar, free throw is good. Leads up to 4, 1:07 to go. Michigan applying that pressure, a zone press. Here's Klessman. Patient, gives it up to Storr. Back to Klessman, under a minute to go. Here's Hepburn. Winter, Storr. Wisconsin just moving the ball around the perimeter as Hepburn now looks to drive. Stops, gives it to the cutter who Klessman couldn't handle the basketball, then deflects off the hands of Cheddar as the ref changed the call, and the crowd's not happy about that.
Exactly right, but what the crowd might be pleased to hear is there is 1 second left on the shot clock. So if Michigan can play just 1.2 seconds more of stout defense, it won't make a difference here. I'm hearing an ooh here.
Yeah,
Matthew.
no, I just saw it on the replay, and I don't know what you saw. You were talking during it, but it looked like the ball might have been off Wisconsin. The ball gets deflected, and that will be a shot clock violation. So the ref will call a shot clock violation since the ball was tipped. There was only 1 second on the shot clock, so Michigan will regain possession with 38.3 to go in this first half.
This is one possession where you'd love to come away with a bucket and a 6-point at least lead into the half.
Michigan, Jawan Howard will take his first time out. He can't use it in the second. So smart for him to do that. As with 38.3, who do you want to go to for Michigan here to increase this lead to 6, maybe 7?
I'd love to see another play that's been working all night. Let's run it through McDaniel, design maybe a bit of a double screen to open up a drive for him, and let him work in the chaos, something he does best. He's a little bit of an agent of chaos, you could say. It's where he makes his magic and where the Wolverines are going to need to look to if they want to build upon this lead.
So Michigan up 4, 37-33, 38.3 to go. McDaniel leading the way, 11 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. Michigan as a team, 40%. Wisconsin from 3, 37.5. Both teams shooting pretty well. Wisconsin at 48, Michigan at 56 in this game as Michigan will inbound from the opposite side of the floor. Cheddar to McDaniel. There is a 7-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. McDaniel will take his time. Michigan trying to hold, at least to give Wisconsin a limited opportunity to score on the other end. So Michigan will go in a half, most likely, with that halftime lead. Here's McDaniel on the attack. Screen from Conwell. Kicks it out. Open three in the corner. Cheddar doesn't go. Rebound to Winter now with 7. Klesmet looking to attack with 5. Klesmet turns, spins, fades, doesn't go. Rebound to Williams, and that will end the first half. So Michigan holds on to that lead. 37 for the Wolverines, 33 for the Badgers. McDaniel leading the way. Cheddar with some big-time bucket, or he had that big-time bucket. Couldn't knock down that end-of-half 3. But Michigan shooting very well, over 50%, as they take the lead in the halftime.
You're exactly right, Matthew. Let's look at it from the big picture. A Michigan Wolverines team up 4 against the number 11 team in the country. Forget about the blown leads. Forget about what the next 20 minutes of basketball might end up being. Once again, you've put yourself in a position to succeed. This isn't the discussion of Michigan 25, Wisconsin 33. Oh, well, they've got some work to do. It's about preserving the lead. They need to build on it, of course, but they are up over the number 11 team in the country.
And they've been here before, as you just mentioned. 8 blown leads in the second half. That will be the stat that will reign over this team. If they were in, if you look at the numbers, right, Michigan's record is 7-15. If they don't have those 8 blown leads, they're 15-7, right? So we go back and forth. They've been here before, but against the number 11 team in the country, crowd not too fired up to start this game. They started to slowly get into it. You can feel the crowd buzz, especially with that referee, according to the crowd, a missed call that kind of led Michigan's crowd to kind of play a factor into this first half.
Exactly. It felt almost like a neutral zone environment to start the game. Of course, we don't want to harp on it too much, but some empty seats here in Crisler Arena, as much as maybe our viewership can't see it. Nevertheless, to get the crowd into it is something that I think is meaningful. It's home court advantage for a reason. It's something the Wolverines are going to need down the stretch.
And, looking at that first half, Doug McDaniel was the real catalyst. And when he went out, in that Final Four, it allowed Wisconsin to really get back into this basketball game. Well, Doug McDaniel get all 20 minutes in the second half.
If his lungs can take it, if I'm Juwan Howard, I'm saying, you know what, let's get the inhaler and let's get it going because they need him. And the fact of the matter is he may not be the most electric defensive player out there. He might not get the blocks that Reed does. He might not have some earth-shattering, big body, Atlas earth on his back moments on the defensive end, but he's the fire starter. He's the spark that this Wolverines offense needs to light a fire.
And the other big substitution, it's really about this interior rotation. Is it going to be Wilt Cheddar or Tarris Reed? Both showed some moments in that first half. Tarris Reed really getting the majority of the minutes, having 12 of those 20 minutes. Cheddar had 8. Is there one that you would favor towards in the second half?
Right now, I'm going to stick with Tarris Reed. I've seen him collect a number of defensive rebounds. He's had, I believe we're going to pull up the stat sheet here, but he's had a number of defensive rebounds and kind of he's a big body on that defensive end that I don't believe Will Cheddar can provide at all times. Tarris Reed only with 2 defensive rebounds. That feels like a little bit less, but the fact of the matter is he's been in every single defensive play. He's had his hand in all of those moments.
And Olivia Kama, so far, he's had 10 rebounds in his own right. Quiet night so far offensively. If there's one place that Michigan could tap into, it feels like it could be Olivia Kama in the second half.
Exactly right. We saw that excellent jab step into a 3 from the top of the key. That felt like a bit of a breakthrough moment from him. But after that, a little bit of silence from Olivier Kamwa. I'd love to see him kind of battle on the inside with Tarris Reed down low as a big body. Of course, Kamwa can kind of stretch the floor at times, but he needs to be a contributor and fast.
And as for Wisconsin, they're kind of spread out all across the board scoring-wise. A.J. Storr with 8 points, Tyler Wall with 6, Chucky Hepburn with 7, and it's really been a lot of, it feels like, Chucky Hepburn controlling the offense, trying to find a bit of space and get his players the basketball.
Exactly right. Chucky Hepburn, we would be remiss not to mention, he had a move on Jalen Llewellyn on defense from the left wing, where he just kind of hit him with a little shake and bake into a drive. His shiftiness almost mimics Doug McDaniel in the sense that he can not only drive and finish with control and against contact, he can also create out of those drives, something that has contributed to Wisconsin's 33 points.
Michigan 37, Wisconsin 33. We'll sign off for now. Michigan trying to hold on. They've had 8 blown leads so far. Can they hold it at 8 here against the number 11 Wisconsin Badgers? We'll have a new call, new crew on for the second half. Zach Edwards, Josh Brown will join us in a couple minutes. But for Matthew Levy and John Tondora, thank you for listening. Stay tuned and go blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and help us welcome America's youngest halftime performer, 6-year-old Alexander.
And welcome back to Crisler Center. You're listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor. My name is Joshua Brown here with my color commentator Zach Edwards on the call for the second half of Michigan basketball versus Wisconsin. Big Ten matchup on a Wednesday night here in Ann Arbor. Michigan leading 37-33 heading into the second half. And Zach, what are some initial thoughts coming out of the first half? We know the storyline with Michigan's fallacies in the second half of basketball games. It's been well documented. Michigan has dropped 7 Big Ten games out of their 9 Big Ten losses when leading at halftime. So Zach, what are your thoughts heading into the second half here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta take everything that happened in this first half with a little bit of grain of salt. As you mentioned, Michigan going into the second half leading in 7 of those 9 games. You can really only take it so far, but Michigan's defense so far looking not too bad. That's definitely something they've struggled throughout the year. As this is just a team that allows a lot of points to other teams. They're 322nd in NCAA at defense, so really not one of their strong suits, but allowing Wisconsin to drive a little bit on defense, and I think that's what's opening up Wisconsin's offense. But, I mean, Doug McDaniel is the only player so far that is in double-digit scoring, and he's shown to be a good force on offense for Michigan, kind of spurring a little bit of a drive that got them up to their 9-point lead. But Levy is also a player who kind of broke out a little bit there with 10 rebounds, all on the defensive end. And, I think it'll be a tight one throughout. Definitely will be interesting to see if Michigan will blow it in Michigan fashion, but excited for a second half of basketball here.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Doug McDaniel, 5 of 8 from the field, 11 points. He's really been kind of that instant offense to the Michigan team, and as you mentioned, Olivia Nakamba with 10 rebounds on the defensive end. And I think, looking from a defensive perspective for Michigan, a lot of those collapses have been in the lane, a lot of open layups. They haven't given up as many open threes as some of their other games. Wisconsin only shooting 3 of 8 from 3, 46% overall from the field. But yeah, no, on the Wisconsin side, Chucky Hepburn, leading scorer, AJ Storr, Wisconsin's leading scorer with 8 points. Chucky Hepburn not so far behind at 7. Seems like Wisconsin started to find a groove a little bit towards the end of the half, cut a 9-point deficit down to 4, so very manageable heading into the second half. But this is a game, if you're Wisconsin, you have to have. 2 losses, blew a 19-point lead at Pinnacle Bank Arena at Nebraska, which is a very tough place to win in the Big Ten. Nebraska's won all their home Big Ten games so far this season, and then a home loss against Purdue. Not inexcusable losses by any stretch, but if you drop this, it's definitely a significant losing skid if you're trying to become a 2 or a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely, and right now they're projected a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, so I mean, this game could make or break Wisconsin's momentum moving into that stretch. As, like you said, this would be their 3rd straight loss that they would have taken, but I mean, one player that I do want to point out on Wisconsin's side is Chucky Hepburn, and he averages just over 7 points per game, and he already has 7 in this first half. He's one player that we've definitely seen been able to get in, get those drives, get a lot of that inside movement in for Wisconsin. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep going his way on those drives. And like you said, they've contained Wisconsin's 3-point shooting, which I think is something that Michigan has struggled with all season. So a little bit of a caveat there, going 3-point shooting to allowing more layups, but again, interesting to see what will happen if Wisconsin can turn into a new gear on offense and try and take a lead. And it would be their first lead since pretty early on in that first half.
Yeah, and against Purdue, Wisconsin really struggled from 3, shooting 3 of 19 from 3. And yeah, those struggles, they haven't been massive struggles, only 3 of 8, but they haven't been able to get red hot like they have throughout most of the season from 3. This is a Greg Gard team that has had a lot more offense in some of those past few years, but certainly a little bit of struggles today. But I'd say overall, if they can get Max Klesman involved, I think that will be kind of one of those key X factors. Chucky Hepburn has done a pretty good job of exploiting that matchup a little bit with Doug McDaniel, who is probably one of the weaker defenders on Michigan despite his really electric offensive output. But I think also another key, as the second half is about to start, is those foul trouble for Michigan.
Absolutely.
3 players with 2 fouls, Trey Jackson, Namari Burnett, and Terrace Reed. Terrace Reed frequently in foul trouble. Burnett with a couple early fouls. The second half is on the verge of starting here at Crisler Center. And we're getting started. Yeah, no. Wisconsin is 9th in Ken Palm's offensive efficiency with a 120.7 rating. And, it's really been a strong shooting team in the field, about 48% on the year. And have racked up those wins earlier in the year. But this is an important win to stop that slide. They head to the rack on Saturday to play Rutgers. Michigan will head to Nebraska on Saturday following this to go to Pinnacle Bank Arena. And Michigan is going to start the second half with the ball here. Looks like Olivia Nakamba inbounding the ball. It's Doug McDaniel coming up. Zach, any final thoughts before the second half kicks off?
I mean, you mentioned it with the foul trouble. Definitely will be interesting to see if those players can stay out of that trouble. No player has more than 2 fouls, so no one in severe foul trouble, but they had 8 fouls at the 9-minute mark, so they had a lot of fouls very early on, and were able to keep a little bit more discipline in that back half of the first half. So it's interesting to see if anyone else gets in foul trouble, if they get limited by that, as Michigan's depth has been one of their main weak points so far this season.
Yeah. One more thing to know in the Wisconsin, both Tyler Wall and Steven Kraut both have 2 fouls. Both teams with their traditional starting 5s out to start the second half here. As Kama inbounds the ball to Doug McDaniel, defended by Chucky Hepburn, bringing the ball up on the left side of the court. Daniel looking to start some offense. Kama comes over to the left. Daniel passes it to Kama. It's being followed by Tyler Wall. Gets it back to McDaniel. Still defended by Chucky Hepburn, who gets it to Terrence Reed. Looking set for Terrence Williams on the inside. And they call a travel against Terrence Williams. And turnovers have been a very, very frequent problem for Michigan. Had a ton of turnovers in the loss against Rutgers, where they completely melted down in the second half. And there are early turnover to start the second half. That's not a winning formula. As Chucky Hepburn brings the ball up and gets it to Klesmet. Looks to the inside. Gets the lay-in to go. Easy offense there. And Max Klesmet now up to 5 points. He's one of those really strong shooters for Wisconsin. The Wofford transfer now in his second year on the team. And he is starting to get hot here. But if they can continue to get those easy layups, then it'll be much easier. Mari Burnett looking for 3. Rattles in. Michigan stretches their lead to 40-35 here. Mari Burnett in foul trouble for most of the first half, comes back on and hits a 3.
And Mari Burnett is one of the best three-point shooting players on this team, and Michigan is also one of the best three-point shooting teams in the Big Ten. So it'll be interesting. Michigan definitely wants to open up that three-point shooting, as they didn't shoot quite as well in that first half as they may have liked.
Hepburn was looking inside, now gets it to Tyler Wall. He's going to go to work on Doug McDaniel. Gets a double team. Scoop shot, and in for Tyler Wall. He's also battling a little bit of foul trouble, and he is 4 for 4 from the field now, so a very efficient 8 points so far for Wall.
And Wisconsin already looking inside in that second half as they did in the first half, getting drives, looking inside to Wall there as one of the biggest players on that Wisconsin team. So look to see if that'll be another formula to get their offense rolling.
Terrence Williams defended by A.J. Storr. Burnett passes it to Terrence Reed, who's going to try to go to work down low. Kicks it out to Doug McDaniel for 3. Off the rim and no good. Wisconsin trying to push it in transition with Wall. It's going up for the easy lay, and that was a bad defensive breakdown.
And there again, Wisconsin showing the ability to just drive in on that Michigan defense and cause a lot of trouble there, as Michigan's lead is chopped down to just 1 entering this timeout.
Very quick timeout, a couple easy layups, 3 very easy layups for Wisconsin. That's what allowed them to cut the lead to 1. Had the lone isolated 3 by Mari Burnett, but it's been, on the offensive end, Wisconsin's been very successful so far to start this second half. And I think that's kind of what prompted the quick timeout. Michigan really trying to keep things in control as much as possible. And I think Juwan Howard did not like what he's seen. And early on in the second half is trying to maybe a little bit of a corrective measure early on his 51st birthday.
Oh, very cool. Birthday. Yeah. I think Wall was able to get 2 really good looks there in these last 2 possessions for Wisconsin. The first one, a little bit more of a design pass into him, as he was able to just work down low. And then that second one was just easy drive off of a transition. And that's kind of what we've seen from Michigan here, is allowing that transition layups. And so we'll see.
Yeah, Michigan with a couple turnovers early in the second half. But, yeah, no, just it was almost like Michigan was sort of playing the pass, and they almost forgot that Wall still had the ball, and he got an easy layup right there. And now with this lead cut to 1, A.J. Storr for Wisconsin, he's their leading scorer, averaging 16.4 points per game coming into this matchup. The St. John's transfer was on the All-Big East freshman team, transferred to Wisconsin after Rick Pitino became the head coach at St. John's. He entered the portal, committed to Greg Gard and the Wisconsin Badgers. He's been a really bright spot. Struggling a little bit today, only 2 of 6 in the field, hit 1 3 early on. It was the first bucket of the game, and 3 free throws to go along with it. I think if you're Wisconsin, you'd like to see him also get involved more.
Absolutely, and he's Wisconsin's leading scorer, averages 16.4 a game, so I think as Wisconsin's starting to draw up and get their offense rolling a little bit more, he's definitely going to be a player that they're going to want to look to as their leading scorer. And it'll be interesting to see, you mentioned the turnovers as well. really kind of a tighter turnover battle than we've seen from a lot of Michigan games, as Michigan often has much more turnovers, but only a 9-to-7 ratio, Michigan at 9 and Wisconsin at 7, and 2 of them have already been in the second half. So that's definitely something they'll want to contain, and maybe, again, is the reason why they took this timeout, is to limit those mistakes on offense and be able to get a little bit of momentum and keep their lead that they've sustained for quite a while here.
Absolutely. And Wisconsin starting to get hotter from the field, and up to 52% shooting from the field, as Doug McDaniel still stuck on those 11 points. Mari Burnett, 3 for 3 from the field. If he wasn't in that early foul trouble, I think you could have seen him with, stuffing the stat sheet a little bit more, and especially in double figures. He only has 9 minutes compared to most of Michigan starters that have at least 16 minutes played so far. So he's going to be fresh, but the key is he has to stay out of foul trouble. And looking on the Wisconsin side, Max Klesmit had that bucket as well. Wall had the 2 lay-ins, Max Klesmit had the other one. And I think they've really seen an area to exploit around the rim, not as much with Steven Crowell, the center, but with those other guards trying to penetrate inside. As Michigan inbounds the ball to Doug McDaniel, he's going to hang around the logo. He's going to look to his right, now try to drive inside. Running floater, no good, but he gets his own rebound. Put back, no good. Kama rebounds that and draws the foul. Some couple funky-looking shots there by Doug McDaniel, but ultimately Olivier Nakama brings down the rebound and draws the foul.
Yeah, first floater doesn't go, tries to get the second one, that one doesn't go, but Kama able to grab the rebound and get the putback there, ultimately not really able to get the shot up, but gets fouled, and we'll look for the 2 free throws here.
Kama, 68% free throw shooter coming in tonight. First one is good.
Free throw shooting, definitely another one of Michigan's weak points this season, but so far today they're at 71%, so not terrible, and Terrace Reed is 2 for 4, and these are Nakama's first free throws of the evening.
Second free throw is up and rattles in. Keith, in your note, Steven Crowell, that was his 3rd foul. Wisconsin center, 7-foot center, averaging 11.2 points. Picking up his 3rd foul is certainly not good. And he heads to the bench, and replacing him is Nolan Winter, who was only averaging 3 points per game, just under 3 points per game coming into the season. Now Wisconsin with Max Klesmit to Chucky Hepburn. Klesmit trying to drive inside and draws a foul, and that is on Burnett, so that is his 3rd.
This is exactly what Michigan's not really looking to happen, is get Burnett, who's one of Michigan's best defenders, in foul trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that you not want to see. As Chucky Hepburn tries to drive, layup is in. All of Wisconsin's points this second half have come off layups. Michigan struggling to get the ball in there briefly, but Doug McDaniel gets it.
And Hepburn had a really easy drive there on Doug McDaniel, and that's something that we've seen from him all evening, is being able to get in and ultimately is their leading scorer.
Hard screen there as Chucky Hepburn goes down, tries to free up Terrence Williams. He's going to try to drive inside from the left side. Starting to get double team, get trapped. Kicks it out to McDaniel with 8 seconds on the shot clock. Passes it to Burnett. Gets it into Terrace Reed. Dribbles. Pump fake. Hook shot. Running floater, no good. Wisconsin pushing up in transition with Wall. Wall trying to drive inside. Loses the ball briefly, but stays in bounds. Passes it to Klesmit, and that is a turnover. Kama bringing the ball up on a steal after the ball took a couple caroms, and Kama driving up in transition. Passes it to Burnett. Passes it to McDaniel. 3, no good.
Michigan showing some great ball movement there on the transition, but Doug McDaniel just unable to capitalize.
Those 3s are going to have to go down if Michigan's going to try to pull off the upset here tonight. Hepburn passes it to Wall, who's going to try to work inside and finds a wide-open A.J. Storr for an easy lay-in. Wisconsin takes the lead 43-42 with 16-10 in the second half.
And this is one of their first leads in quite a while, and really Wisconsin's just dominating down low in this second half so far as they're up 43-42.
Michigan's missed its last 5 field goals. They're keeping Burnett out on the floor, who passes it to Terrace Reed, gets it to Terrence Williams at the top of the key, who's going to try to drive it, go to work, draws the foul. Shot doesn't go. Terrence Williams will be heading to the free throw line after the under 16 media timeout here. 15:51 to go in the second half.
And, I mean, Wisconsin is just running their offense. They are dominating down low, getting those drives in. Hepburn already with 9 so far in this game, and Storr and Wall both up to 10. They're just really getting inside. They're opening up Michigan's defense, and Michigan can't really stop them on the drive or transition.
Exactly, and I think what's so great about the Greg Gard coaching from Wisconsin, they're sticking with what works. They know that they're probably a more talented team, obviously number 11 in the country.
Yep.
They certainly are a much more well-rounded team than Michigan. And I think they're just sticking with what works. They know that they don't need those threes to kind of find their way and claw their way back in the game. They're finding those easy layups and just brick by brick, waiting on Michigan to go cold, which they have. Michigan hasn't made a field goal in the last 3 minutes and 17 seconds. They will be going to the line here to try to regain the lead with Terrence Williams. But I think sticking with what works has really been effective, and they know that they're the better team, and they can kind of keep going to that, continue executing.
Absolutely. And looking at Michigan's offensive end, you mentioned hasn't had a field goal in over 3 minutes, and also 0 for 5 in their last field goal. So they've had 5 attempts, but unable to get any of them. Nkamho's 2 free throws early on in this first half have been some of Michigan's only points, and definitely looking to get back on the board here as they're down for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah, and it's starting to feel like that theme of the second half collapse setting in. It may not be that imminent run that, you had a crazy, I believe it was 37-12 run that Rutgers had to close out the game against Michigan. But this could be a kind of brick by brick, and the lead slowly expands for Wisconsin. That's kind of what it's playing out like right now. Obviously, it's subject to change, but I think we'll see what Juwan Howard comes out of the under-16 timeout with Amari Burnett. But after picking up a third foul, he kept him on the floor. I think with Wisconsin trying to go inside, I think that's going to be very interesting to see. They continue to try to drive on him and make him pick up his fourth, as you said, one of Michigan's best defenders. And
in that Rutgers game that you mentioned, had only 20 points in that second half. So, again, Michigan's defense really not their strong suit this year, but if they can't get enough points on the board, they can't keep up with any offense, not even mattering how good their defense does. So, hoping, again, not letting this 0-5 in the last 5 kind of define their offense as they come out of this 16-minute media timeout, trying to prevent a huge run from Wisconsin to gain too much of a lead to where it'll be insurmountable.
If you're trying to pull off an upset over a very good, well-disciplined, talented team, you're going to have to make your open looks, stay disciplined, cut down on the turnovers. Michigan can't afford to have too many more turnovers. It's not like Wisconsin's capitalized too much, only 7 points off of Michigan's 9 turnovers. But you certainly just can't be given those chances for the Badgers. Terrence Williams is now going to go to the line, shooting 2 free throws. Williams is a 79% free throw shooter for Michigan. Been a little bit more reliable this year from the free throw line. Some of the other players have, Terrace Reed struggles from the free throw line, and Kama hasn't been as amazing. Williams had a shoot. That one goes in, tied up at 43.
Terrence Williams is one of these players that, again, he said he worked on his jump shot over the offseason. We can definitely see this through these free throws that he's attempted. Shooting one of the best marks on the team as he makes the first one.
Almost taking as long as Giannis here with this free throw windup. I don't know, maybe they're going to have to start counting to 10. Second free throw's good. Michigan retakes the lead, 44-43. Chucky Hepburn bringing the ball up, defended by Doug McDaniel. Hepburn looks to store, but passes it into Winter. Winter looking at Gilmore, Carter Gilmore in for the Badgers. Passes it back to Hepburn. Tries to find some way inside. Gilmore passes it to Klesman, who tries to drive inside on Burnett. Running floater no good, but the putback is no good, but a foul is called. And if that's against Terrace Reed, that'll be his third.
So again, Michigan showing this foul trouble could become an issue as they'll have to start looking a little bit more to their depth, which has been one of their downfalls. And on that shot there, Winter will be sent to the free throw line, and Gilmore, who's only played 4 minutes in this game so far, had a nice putback there, but it won't count as Gilmore will go to the line.
Winter, a 62.5% free throw shooter, misses the first free throw. But the 2 players that Michigan really couldn't afford to have in foul trouble coming out of the half have both of them up their third foul, as you'll see Terrace Reed go off to the bench and replaced by Will Cheddar. It's obviously a fan favorite. Second free throw by Winter is up, and that is no good, so they miss both. Block out Terrence Williams, corrals the rebound. Doug McDaniel now bringing the ball up for Michigan. Defended by Hepburn once again. Larry Burnett trying to move around, try to create some instant offense, but McDaniel still holding the ball. Burnett flashes open, being defended by Klesman, and gets it to Kama, who's being defended by Winter. Passes it to McDaniel. Burnett, a 3, off the mark. And Hepburn up in transition on the rebound. Some nice moves, but takes it out ultimately. Relatively good transition defense there by Michigan, preventing a fast break layup. Good job getting back by McDaniel.
Definitely an oddity there, as I would have expected Hepburn to go in very easily and get that layup, but Doug McDaniel able to contain him.
Hepburn now trying to work inside. Gets it to Winter for 3. That is off too. But no one can corral the rebound in Wisconsin. Klesmit gets the rebound off a long rebound bounce all the way nearly to half court. It's Chucky Hepburn trying to find some instant offense here for the Badgers. Michigan gone over 4.5 minutes without a field goal at this point. Hepburn and one gets Will Cheddar to blow past him, but Cheddar commits the foul, and Hepburn gets the layup to go. That is just something you can't have happen for Michigan. You either got to commit the open layup or just foul and make sure that he doesn't make the shot.
And Chucky Hepburn, now the leading scorer for Wisconsin, he's definitely been able to open up this offense. Although free throws really have not been Wisconsin's strong suit tonight, shooting 6 for 11 going into this shot from Hepburn. And it's definitely kept Michigan in the game as, again, they've kind of experienced this foul trouble throughout the first and second half. So could be indicative of the final score if Wisconsin isn't able to convert on free throws.
Hepburn makes the free throw. Just such a veteran move there to get Cheddar to blow by. He's now a junior. It feels like he's been in the Big Ten for so much longer. McDaniel bringing the ball up now for Michigan, down 44-46 to the Badgers. McDaniel, Michigan needs, and that is a foul. And that'll go against Chucky Hepburn.
Trying to get
his first.
Trying to get a little sneak around there, trying to get a poke, but unable to get the steal, and Michigan will retain possession.
Michigan's gone almost 5 minutes now without a made field goal, and that is very alarming. They got to find something quick. These defensive adjustments by Wisconsin coming out have been very good. Really good adjustments by Greg Gard and his team. Conway now getting the ball, trying to work inside. Cheddar was trying to flash open. Conway just going to go near the rim. Kicks out to McDaniel. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Crazy layup, doesn't go. Went a little behind the back, reverse. I don't even know what that was, but now Wisconsin bringing the ball back up with Marcus Ilver. And that A.J. Storr going to town, going to the rim, gets the lay-in to go.
And it's probably sound like a broken record, but I mean, they're just getting the layups. They're driving in. They're making Michigan's life very difficult down low. Wisconsin will pull ahead by 4.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, and that's exactly what's going on with Wisconsin's offense. Cheddar losing the ball there, needs to find someone to kick it out to. Trying to work inside. Layup, no good. Off the glass, no, but Llewellyn for Michigan grabs the rebound. Gets it to Terrence Williams with 4 seconds on the shot clock. Pulls up for a jumper. And that is good. Breaks the seal on Michigan's field goal drought. Finally, after missing their last 7 field goals, it's Terrence Williams out of all people to make that in. And now it's back to a 2-point game, 48-46 Wisconsin.
And Terrence Williams able to open up the scoring there. 1 for 9 in the last shots now for Michigan as they had a 2.5-minute scoring drought, able to bring it back within 2.
Hepburn and Storr, the lone starters for Wisconsin on the court right now. Hepburn trap, gets it to Ilver. He pulls up for 3, and that is off. And trying to get the rebound. Crazy sequence. Both players diving on the court. Mikama trying to bring it up in transition. To Cheddar. To Kama, he draws the foul. Crazy sequence. Both teams seemed unclear if the ball had gone out of bounds. I don't know. How do you characterize that, Zach?
Yeah, both Wisconsin players, Gilmore and Estian, are diving all over the place to keep that ball in bounds and almost ended up with the possession, but Michigan able to take it down the other end as Kama's fouled, and we'll go to the free throw line. And honestly, the free throw line is where Michigan's getting the majority of their points this quarter or this half here.
Absolutely. Kama, first free throw, no good. He's a 68% free throw shooter on the year. Made his first couple, but that one does not go. Now looking for a second to cut this to a 1-point game at 12:30 in the second half. Burnett back in the game for Michigan with 3 fouls. Terrace Reed still off the court with his 3. Free throw was good by Kama and is now a 1-point game. Michigan going with a little bit of press on Max Klesmit here, trying to draw a trap. Wisconsin breaks the trap. 3 ball by Sejan, no good. Namari Burnett bringing the ball back up for Michigan. Looking to Jalen Llewellyn in the right corner. Back to Cheddar, back to Llewellyn, who's going to be the floor general at the top of the key here, near the logo, near half court. Cheddar sets the screen. Llewellyn looks left, gets it into Kama. Defended. Jumper good. Gets that to go over Steven Crowell, who is also back in the game for the Badgers. And Kama, that jumper takes the lead for Michigan. 49-48 as Crisler Center starts to get loud.
Great turnaround jumper there by Kama, and he has the Wolverines' last 3 points here, is able to regain the lead, and this is really becoming a great back-and-forth battle here.
Steven Crowell working inside on Will Cheddar, trying to get something to go. And that is an offensive foul on Steven Crowell, and that is number 4 for the Badgers center as we hit the under 12 media timeout. Shetter has a knack for drawing those charges, and that time it was very effective. Crowd was trying to work inside, and that is a very costly fourth foul. It'll be very interesting to see how Greg Gard tries to use him going forward. Maybe you just wait until the under 4 timeout, but if it becomes desperate measures, then they might have to go to him sooner.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a really interesting 4 minutes going into this timeout break, as Crisler Center was pretty quiet for the last 4 minutes, as Michigan really unable to get anything going on offense, but Kamo hit that really nice shot there going into this, and then Will Cheddar able to get the turnover, and so it's becoming a very interesting game, and Michigan, while their offense is struggling, showing no signs of really giving up quite yet.
And if you were to tell me that Michigan had only made 3 field goals by the under 12 media timeout, I'd be, how many points are they down by? 5,
right.
6?
Yeah.
But they find themselves playing a little bit better defense in that segment. Up by 1, 49-48 here.
I think one of the most interesting things that we've seen so far has been this free throw shooting, as Wisconsin is barely above that 50% mark, 7 for 12 from the line. And Michigan is honestly doing quite well, going 10 for 13, as they've only showed a couple misses here and there. But when Michigan is getting in this foul trouble and sending Wisconsin to the line, it makes it so that those are the free points that Wisconsin's going to get, but unable to convert on most of them as Michigan is. And I think that's honestly what's making the difference, as Michigan's only made a couple field goals here in the second half, and the majority of their points have come from that free throw line.
Yeah, and they've gotten obviously Stephen Crown a foul trouble with those 4 fouls. Have to assume he's going to be taken out of the game by Greg Gard. Probably likely to be replaced by Nolan Winter, who's getting a lot of meaningful minutes now. Barely got so much playing time all year, but is now seeing some meaningful minutes for the Badgers, averaging just a couple points a game on the year. But yeah, no, for Wisconsin, they've had some success moving the ball and getting those layups, but they have kind of stalled. Their three-point shooting has continued to struggle and flounder here in the second half. Only made just 3 three-pointers in the game, and obviously if they can continue to get to the rim and make those 2-pointers, that'll probably ultimately work for them. But if Michigan clamps down on the interior and forces Wisconsin to make their threes to win the game, that might end up being the winning formula for the Wolverines.
And with Crowell coming out of the game now with 4 fouls, that makes it much easier for Michigan to kind of force the ball outside and really make them shoot that 3 ball. While we have seen quite a few drives, a lot of those longer possessions we've seen from Wisconsin have been a lot of inside-out play where they feed it into Crowell, then make it go back out, and then try a drive. So when you take Crowell out of that game and force Winter, who really hasn't had a lot of points this season, only averaging 2.8, it makes it they might have to take these 3-pointers in order to keep them within the game. And even though Michigan's offense is struggling, if Wisconsin can't get it going either, then it'll remain a close game.
Just a little bit of housekeeping here. John Blackwell and Nolan Winter both checked in the game for Wisconsin. Got a 5-person lineup, also including Connor Asijian, who played really well here in Ann Arbor last year in the overtime loss. He had the Hunter Dickinson game-tying 3-pointer, but Asijian has really seen his minutes cuts this year. I believe he had his career-high 24 points here last time in Crisler Center. Still scoreless today. Jalen Llewellyn bringing the ball up now for Michigan, who's being defended by Connor Asijian with Chucky Hepburn out of the game. Will Cheddar, 3-pointer, and that's good! Will Cheddar hits the 3 for Michigan to extend the lead to 4 points.
It gets the charge right before the timeout, hits a big 3 coming out of the timeout, and Michigan's lead is up to 4 now.
He's one of those players that even as Juwan Howard's, had questioned those effort issues, he's still playing hard and is now starting to be that spark plug. As a missed 3 there by Wisconsin, as Michigan bringing the ball back up with Trey Jackson, passes it to Barnett, and Amari Burnett. That missed 3 is by Connor Asijian. Burnett trying to work inside, layup, rims off. That should have gone down for Namari Burnett to stretch the lead to 6, but Wisconsin moving the ball back. Blackwell to Winter, back to Wall, and a 3-ball there. Rims out there by Max Klesmit. Wisconsin continuing to struggle from 3.
Yeah, Wisconsin, again, they're really trying to get this 3-ball rolling, but just can't get anything to fall, as that's 2 straight possessions with a miss from 3.
Llewellyn with the ball right now, trying to find some space inside. Gonna have to go back out to Shetter at the top of the key. Just gonna try to set something up. Burnett looking back inside. Nearly lost it. Will Cheddar. Whoa, gets Tyler Wall to fall down. 3-ball, no good though. But Michigan nearly corrals the rebound, but Blackwell bringing it back up for the Badgers. And now Wall trying to push, transition, going to wait, stall out, try to set the offense up and running. Now Klesmet has it at the top of the key. And Tyler Wall going inside on Terrace Reed. Little hook shot layup is good by Tyler Wall, who is a very efficient 6 for 6 for Wisconsin, now up to 12 points.
And Wall, the graduate student, he's one of the most disciplined players on this Wisconsin team, and you could just see working, taking his time against Terrace Reed and getting the easy bucket.
Yeah, and he was the main kind of key player in Wisconsin's game against Purdue, the 75-69 loss. As a foul there committed by John Blackwell for the Badgers. But Wall at 20 points, 7 boards, 5 assists on Sunday at home at the Kohl Center against Purdue. A tough loss there. That felt like would have been a big win. It's hard to imagine after losing that game, unless they go on a big run here down the stretch run, that Wisconsin's going to compete for a 1 seed after getting up to, I believe it was number 5 in the country. And yeah, Mari Burnett inbounds it to Jalen Llewellyn, brings it out with 16 seconds on the shot clock. Being defended now by Chucky Hepburn, who's back in the game. Terrace Reed is also in the game. This is Trey Jackson, a little out of control. It's like a foul is called before Jackson had a clear lane to the bucket.
And that'll put Michigan in the bonus here, as Wisconsin had 6 fouls, and it seems like this foul trouble script has almost been flipped in this second half, as Michigan had 8 at this point in the first half, and Wisconsin now has 7 in the second half. So, again, kind of showing that flip script here as they'll send Terrace Reed to the line.
But unfortunately for Michigan, this is probably the last guy you want at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Terrace Reed is just a 56% free throw shooter, shooting a 1-and-1 here. First free throw is up, and it's good. So he'll earn another one. Terrace Reed now 3 of 5, I believe, from the free throw line as he steps up to shoot his second. Reed up to 7 points on the night here. Michigan up 53-50. Reed dribbles. Free throw up, and that's good. So 2 free throws made for Terrace Reed after I just called him out a little bit. But Michigan back up to a 4-point lead here at Crisler. Nola Winter passes it to Chucky Hepburn. Gets it to Wall. Some ball moving here. A.J. Storr. Now Klesmet has it. Wall trying to look inside, and he falls down. No travel call, but Michigan gets a steal anyways with Burnett, pushing in transition. Layup is no good. Rebound by Will Cheddar. And his putback is good. Will Cheddar has really been a spark for this Michigan team, who has stretched their lead to 6 points here with 8:47 left in the game.
And the emotional factor from Will Cheddar really brings not only the team alive, but Crisler alive. And they're really going to need all this energy from the atmosphere in order to bring them back in.
Looking for someone to pass it to. Tyler Wall kicks it on the side to A.J. Storr. Storr looking inside. And called for a foul there is Trey Jackson. Nearly got the M1 there to go by Storr, but Storr will be going to the free throw line.
And that's Trey Jackson's third here, as now Michigan up to 3 players with 3 fouls, and all of which are on the court: Burnett, Reed, and Jackson. So despite not having as much foul trouble here in this second half, they do have 3 players that are kind of on this cusp of being in and out of the game.
Michigan's really found a way to turn around. Before these free throws, Michigan was on a 12-2 run. That free throw there is good by Storr. Well-documented free throw struggles for Wisconsin, now up to 8 of 13 from the free throw line here as Storr makes that first one. Storr up to 13 points. Wisconsin's leading scorer. Hepburn and Wall at 12. Second free throw by Storr is good, so it's back to a 4-point game.
And despite Michigan having a worse overall field goal percentage, I think what's really keeping them in this game here is that free throw percentage as well as their 3-point percentage. Wisconsin only hitting 3 of their 3-pointers, while Michigan hitting 6. I mean, that is a little bit less than the difference here, as it's 56-52.
Yep, Jalen Llewellyn now with the ball. Passes it to Will Cheddar. To Terrace Reed down low. Absolutely cooks Nolan Winter and gets a nice dunk to go. Terrace Reed took Nolan Winter's 120, and it stretches the lead back to 6.
Great move there by Terrace Reed, as he is able to just knock him off his stance and get an easy dunk.
Hepburn defended by Llewellyn. Some good defense to prevent an easy layup. Michigan really clamping down on the inside, making Wisconsin beat him for the outside. A.J. Storr. Contested 3 is blocked by Trey Jackson as Jalen Llewellyn is pushing it in transition. Looks for Burnett for 3 on the corner. And that is no good. That would have brought Crisler to its feet for sure, but it does not go. Wisconsin back with the ball. Carter Gilmore passes it to Max Klesmet, who falls into a double team. Gets it to Nolan Winter down low. Passes it back to Hepburn. A.J. Storr looking inside, but he travels. Took a little walk in the park there. Now we're at the under a timeout.
Michigan's definitely bringing up this defensive intensity. As you could see Juwan from the sideline getting out in a defensive stand, setting a good example for his team, as Michigan's really limited Wisconsin's offense within the last 4 minutes here, as they turned it around from being down 1 at the last time out to now up by, it's 6. So Michigan really making some strides both on offense and on defense.
Absolutely, and this has got to be so far one of Michigan's best defensive performances this season, if not the best. Maybe against St. John's earlier in the year. St. John's team that's now squarely on the bubble for the NCAA tournament at MSG. Michigan's win there, but that was a far cry ago. That was early November. This has certainly been so far Michigan's best defensive output in Big Ten play. And I think after Juwan Howard called his team out, he's always someone to often take the blame, as most coaches do, over his players. But he genuinely called out his players in his post-game press conference after an utter collapse against a terrible Rutgers offense heading into the game. But yeah, just, called his players. He was like, maybe I should put the walk-ons in the second half if they care. But Michigan's players have responded even when they faced that adversity, going down a handful of points. They've responded, gone on a run, and while their offense kind of floundered for a little bit earlier in the second half, their defense was able to prevent the game from getting out of reach, and then their offense finally is starting to catch fire. Yeah, and that defense has really been crucial, again, like I said, in this last 4 minutes. Limiting the drives, and I think, again, one of the main factors of those drives being limited is Michigan is starting to convert a little bit more on offense, so that transition is stripped away from Wisconsin. They have to slow it down and really work their offense, and when Crowell, their 7-foot center, isn't in the game, it makes it really hard for them to get that slow and progressive offense going, to work that in and out basketball, to try and get a lot of shots, both on the perimeter and inside. So with Crowell out, yeah, I mean, it could be a difference maker here, as Wisconsin unable to work in transition because Michigan's making shots on offense, but also because Crowell isn't in on down low for Wisconsin. Especially, Nolan Winter has not been an offensive threat at all in place of Stephen Crowell. Just 1 point, 0 of 2 from the field, 1 of 4 from the free throw line. So that's going to be a potential, foul target. But yeah, Wisconsin's second half 3-point struggles have carried over from the Purdue game, where I think at least at one point late in the second half they hadn't made a 3. Maybe they might have made one late. On the broadcast they mentioned how they really struggled from 3, and that has carried over in today. 0 of 6 from 3-point land in the second half. You make 1 or 2 of those, and the turnovers have started to rack up. Michigan's played much more turnover-free basketball in the second half compared to what they've normally done in falter. These next 4 minutes are going to be a very crucial stretch here from Michigan, as this is often when they start losing their lead and losing their stride. Absolutely. Namari Burnett bringing up the ball. Can Michigan stretch their lead, or will Wisconsin bite back with that number 11 in the country medal? Jalen Llewellyn. Terrace Reed nearly brought the house down off a alley-oop pass by Jalen Llewellyn. It was going to be a one-handed slam dunk. Doesn't go, but Reed draws the foul there. And that'll go against Carter Gilmore. That's his first, but Wisconsin's 18th foul. This will be 2 shots, but only 1 more, foul. That'll be a 1-and-1. After that, Michigan will be in the double bonus. And that could prove to be crucial later on if Wisconsin is down by a couple points and they're looking to get some 1-and-1s to chip away to lead later in the game. But as Terrace Reed makes that first, he's now up to 5 of 7 on the night from the free throw line. And I believe he's made his last 4 from the free throw line. Yeah, so he's really bringing this Wolverine team in stride from the line and keeping this lead up as it now makes it, and it'll go to 8. 8-point lead for Michigan with 7:23 in the second half. I don't think many of us saw this coming after a second half debacle against Rutgers and all these blown second half leads. But Wisconsin under immense pressure on the road in the Big Ten. It's never easy, and they are feeling the heat right now. Wall trying to work inside, defended by Trey Jackson. And I believe they're going to call a foul on the floor. That'll likely go against Jackson, and that'll be his 4th personal. The first Michigan player up to 4 personal fouls of the day. Jackson with just 2 points, both of them free throws. So hasn't done much on the offensive end, but defensively he's been a big presence looking to defend A.J. Storr. Wisconsin inbounding the ball. Wall to Storr. Storr trying to get up to the top of the key and is going to get it to Hepburn. Chucky Hepburn looking inside, passes it out. A.J. Storr trying to drive inside. Muscles in but doesn't go. Oh, and Trey Jackson nearly got a steal off Max Klesmet, but the refs call a foul. And that'll be Trey Jackson's 5th, so he will now be out of the game. And that looked like a pretty clean strip but the refs didn't see it that way.
Yeah, very unfortunate call there as Trey Jackson now at his 5th, only played 13 minutes tonight. He's going to be forced out of the game after only making his 2 points on 2 free throws. So Michigan's already pretty shallow depth is stripped even more as Trey Jackson will be sent to the bench and Terrence Williams will come in the game.
Wisconsin, as Terrence Williams checks into the game now in place of Trey Jackson. Michigan with 16 fouls, so going forward, Wisconsin will be in the bonus. Badgers trying to inbound, get it to A.J. Storr. Backs down Terrence Williams as he falls over, and the layup is good, cutting the lead to 6 points. Will Cheddar gets the ball into Jalen Llewellyn, bringing it up for Michigan. Doug McDaniel still yet to check back into the game. It's Jalen Llewellyn trying to work inside, defended by Hepburn. Going to pass it back to Will Cheddar, who's played a big role in the second half. Terrence Williams now trying to go to work on Tyler Wall. Gets stopped, nearly picks up his foot for a double dribble. 8 seconds to the shot clock as they bring it back out to Jalen Llewellyn. He's going to try to drive inside, gets double teamed, and the refs call a tie-up. Very early jump ball call there by the refs, and it'll be Wisconsin ball as they keep the arrow. So a turnover there, a very costly one by Michigan as Wisconsin is trying to mount this late push.
And these refs definitely have not been in the side of Crisler, as Chrysler's been pretty upset with a lot of these calls that these refs have given.
Yeah, very bad call in the first half, led to a free throw and just a couple ones there. Felt like a very early call for a jump ball, even though it was late in the shot clock. Hepburn trying to go inside. Jump shot is no good. Wisconsin is ice cold from the free throw. And that'll go out of bounds off Terrace Reed. Wisconsin will keep possession with an inbounds play under the basket. But yeah, Wisconsin, I mean, they just really struggled from the field.
Yep.
You know, it really feels like it, especially from 3. Haven't gotten a lot to go. Still shooting 48%. So a lot of it's been turnovers in those costly missed threes as they get the ball in to Steven Crowell, who is back into the game with his 4 fouls. Crowell going over Terrace Reed, and that is no good. Crowell playing with those 4 fouls as Burnett brings it up. Still no signing of Doug McDaniel. As Will Cheddar pulls up for 3. It rolls around and it's in!
And that touch,
Will Cheddar,
every part of the rim.
His second 3 of the game, rolled all the way around the rim, nearly out. And now Wisconsin calls a timeout as Chrysler Center is on its feet, sensing the possibility of a big upset in a very, key win for Michigan, but it also would be a very costly, probably quad 3 loss for Wisconsin. That is something that you can have on your NCAA tournament resume.
And looking at the stat sheet here, both teams shooting 21 for 45 from the field, so very even shooting between the two teams. The main difference maker here has been that 3-point shooting. Wisconsin shooting at a 21% mark with Michigan at 37 with a 3-7 difference. So Michigan just kind of firing from downtown, not necessarily on the highest shooting percentage, but really able to get up there and get those points dropped. But an 82% free throw mark also is keeping Michigan up. So now again up to tied with the biggest lead of the game at 9. Michigan held this lead midway through the first half, but now up to exactly the same 9-point lead with 5 minutes here to go. It'll be interesting to see, is this where Michigan might turn it around, as Wisconsin called a pretty momentum halting timeout, or potential momentum halting timeout.
Do or die for the batters. Clismet was clapping to try to encourage his teammates on as Chucky Hepburn brings the ball up now. Clismet spots up for 3, and that's no good. Wisconsin's 3-point struggles continue to be on display here in the second half. Michigan now up 9 with the ball with 5 minutes, just over 5 minutes, 5:22 left in the second half. Terrence Williams gets it to Burnett on the elbow from 3. Now Terrace Reed is going to go to work, looking for jumper on Steven Crowell, playing with his 4 fouls. Reed nearly loses it. Good defense there by Crowell. Ball is knocked out of bounds, and that'll be Badger basketball.
Looked like Will Cheddar got a hand on that as he's maybe trying to keep the ball alive, but poked it out of bounds, and it'll be Wisconsin ball.
Certainly, I think a good idea there by Reed to try to see what you can do on Steven Crowell to try to make him pick up his 5th.
Yep.
But there it just was unsuccessful. Now Crowell is being defended by Will Cheddar as Clismet has the ball near the 3-point line. On Will Cheddar, steps back for 3, and that's good. Max Clismet cuts the lead to 6, and finally a 3-point shot goes down. A much-needed sight for Wisconsin, cutting the lead to 6 here with under 5 minutes to go. And again, just as still no Doug McDaniel on the floor. Michigan, one of Michigan's best and most prolific scorers, just a little bit of a liability on the defensive end, and it's been very interesting to see how Michigan's played without him. Will Cheddar now gets it to Jalen Llewellyn, who's going to try to work. Cheddar was open there. It looked like he flashed for a sec. But Llewellyn going inside. Kicks it to Terrace Reed as the shot clock's winding down with 6 seconds. No one to go to Terrence Williams. Now with the ball. Going on A.J. Storr. And the shot is good. The jumper from the bottom of the court is good for Terrence Williams, and the lead is back up to 8.
Crucial possession there for Michigan, taking the shot clock all the way down to get that eventual bucket.
Steven Crowell passes it to Max Klesmit, who tries to work inside, kicks it to Chucky Hepburn for 3, and that's good. Wisconsin is starting to get hot from 3, but is it too late? The lead is down to 5.
Michigan continuing to show their bigger lineup with both Cheddar and Reed in here. Maybe trying to get this 5th foul on Crowell, but will remain to be seen.
Jalen Llewellyn being defended pretty hard by Hepburn, who gets a big screen from Williams. Llewellyn 3 is off the mark, and Wisconsin pushing up in transition with A.J. Storr, who's going to try to work inside on Amari Burnett. Stops, passes it, kicks it out, and that is stolen by Terrence Williams. Errant pass there by A.J. Storr, and a foul committed by Max Klesmit. So there will be free throws coming for Michigan, a 1-and-1 for Terrence Williams after the under 4 media timeout. Just a costly foul there after what was very promising there for Wisconsin. With the ball down 5, trying to push her in transition. Storr runs out of room. Good defense by Namari Burnett, but makes an errant pass, and a nice steal there by Terrence Williams to read it.
Yeah, that costly turnover could end up being one of Wisconsin's main downfalls. They hit 2 straight threes on, I think it was either 2 or 3 possessions there, so able to really get a little bit of momentum from that 3-point shots, as Hepburn is now up to 15, which is almost double his average throughout the whole season. And A.J. Storr on that possession, while he is Wisconsin's leading scorer with 16 at the moment, really was unable to find anything and just threw, again, like you said, a really errant pass out. And Terrence Williams made a really good read there to get the turnover and get the foul, which will lead to a 1-and-1.
Yeah, and that's going to be an important free throw coming up right after the break for Terrence Williams. Michigan up 5, playing with a lot more heart and inspiration, I think, especially in this second half. Sense the moment, sense the opportunity. I've seen the headlines and trends, what's going on. The second half collapses. Michigan trying to put an end to that narrative, at least for tonight, and come away with an upset win at home.
And while eventually it may not mean a lot for Michigan's season, already at a 7-15 mark on the year, Wisconsin is a 3 seed and has lost their last 2 games. So they're really on a downward trend if they can't finish out this game. And Greg Gard is a 6-7 all-time as a head coach in his 9 seasons for Wisconsin against Michigan. And so he'll drop and he'll stay in that kind of losing column against Michigan, as even last season when Hunter Dickinson hit that 3, couldn't really find any answers at Crisler Center.
Yeah, exactly. But they split the season series last year. Obviously, the well-documented incident with the slap a couple years back, that is very well known, when Juwan Howard slapped Greg Gard, and well-documented, Howard served a suspension following that incident. But yeah, no, Michigan up 5, and it would be a low quad 2 loss for Wisconsin, as away losses between 76 and 135 in the net. Our quad 2, Michigan currently sitting at 111 in the NCAA net rankings, which is pretty high for a 7-15 record. Comparing that to some of the other teams in college basketball, I think it shows just a little bit of some of the bad luck that Michigan's had, and some of the metrics have them a little higher than that. But now coming out of the under 4 media timeout here, 3:26 left in the ball game, Michigan up 65-60, and Terrence Williams is going to the free throw line.
At the line, shooting 1-1 for the Wolverines, number 5, Terrence Williams, the second.
And this will be Michigan's last 1-and-1 before they'll be in the double bonus, but this is a crucial 1-and-1 here. Williams taking his time, his free throw motion. As Crisler goes quiet. Shot up, and that's good. Nothing but the net there on that first free throw by T. Will.
That's a crucial shot for Michigan. Like you mentioned, last 1-and-1, as now the lead is up to 6.
Second free throw.
Taking his time.
And that's good. Michigan's been very good from the free throw line. Now up to 16 for 19 from the free throw line. Right to Wisconsin's 9 of 14. And Crisler gets loud as Chucky Hepburn passes it to Tyler Wall. He's going to get up to A.J. Storr. Storr trying to work inside, and that's good. A.J. Storr cuts the lead back to 5. Wisconsin needs some stops, and they need him now. Still no sign of Doug McDaniel, one of Michigan's most prolific scorers, serving that away game suspension, but obviously, you know, has really been hidden out of the second half game plan here for Michigan. Mari Burnett now with the ball, passes it back to Terrence Williams, who's going to try to work inside, pulls up for a jumper, and that is no good, but a great rebound by Terrace Reed. Oh, and they're going to call a foul there. So foul, looked like that was a clean tip, but the ref saw otherwise, and they called a foul against Terrace Reed, who has made his last 4 free throw shots here.
That's a crucial foul again for Wisconsin. Is now, even if Terrace Reed misses this first shot, he will get 2, so a chance to extend the lead to 6 and maybe even 7 as he takes his first shot.
Reed is up, and that's no good. Michigan had a nice streak there where they made a lot of free throws, but that one by Reed is no good. He had made his last 4 or 5. That one doesn't go. Yeah, Crisler goes quiet for Reed's second free throw. And that is up, and that's no good. 2 critical bad misses there by Terrace Reed, and Wisconsin bringing up the ball with Hepburn down 5 with under 3 minutes to go. Passes it to Wall, who gets it to A.J. Storr, who's going to try to look inside. Now trying to find someone to get it to. Gets it to Stephen Crowell. Passes it to Storr, who gets it to Hepburn. Hepburn trying to find some offense. Going to go inside on Llewellyn. Pulls up Tyler Wall, and that is blocked by Terrace Reed. He tried to get the head fake there, but it didn't go. Nice block there by Terrace Reed Jr. to redeem himself after those missed free throws.
Michigan showing some great defensive stands here in really critical times.
This is definitely the best defensive half Michigan's probably had all year.
Absolutely.
And in turnover there by Wisconsin. Wall diving for it, and he gets fouled there by Llewellyn, who's holding his head there, but it looks like he's okay. Sloppy turnover there by Jalen Llewellyn, trying to get it to Olivier Nakamba. And now that'll be a 1-and-1 free throws. And I believe it'll now be Tyler Wall going to the free throw line. He's only a 68.8% free throw shooter, and this is a 1-and-1. Critical front end here for the Badgers.
And hasn't taken any today, so this will be his first time from the charity stripe.
Wall takes a couple dribbles. 3 dribbles. Now looks up at the basket. Free throw is up. And that's how good, but an easy rebound by A.J. Storr. A wide open putback. Total defensive collapse. Just stuck ball watching and not going after the ball. And the lead is down to 3 with 2 minutes to go. As Jalen Llewellyn is being pressed very hard by Chucky Hepburn. Gets it across half court. And now trying to run the offense and set it. Llewellyn passes it to Terrence Williams. Williams trying to find someone to get it to. Shot clock down to 10. Gets it to Kamwa, who's being defended by Tyler Wall. Kamwa trying to work inside, spins, loses the ball. Costly turnovers down the stretch for Michigan as Chucky Hepburn is now bringing the ball up down 3 for the Badgers. And Hepburn trying to go to the rim, and that is blocked. Block shot there by Michigan. I think that was Olivier Kamwa who's got the tip there. Michigan now with the ball up 3, a minute 22 as Juwan Howard calls timeout for Michigan. Michigan has gone almost 3 minutes without a field goal, but a good defensive stand there when it looked like Wisconsin had a chance to tie or cut it to 1 there.
And as you mentioned, Michigan going almost 3 minutes without a field goal. Now just over 2 minutes without any score at all, as A.J. Storr was able to get that super easy putback on the missed first free throw from Wall. And A.J. Storr is definitely going to be a player that Wisconsin wants to get involved if they want to chip away at this 3-point deficit that they currently hold. A.J. Wall, the team's leading scorer, has 20 tonight. So if they can get him involved, they can get Hepburn involved and get those drives like they did kind of towards the end of that first half and beginning of the second half. Again, we have ourselves a ball game here.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what Michigan draws up. Juwan Howard's coaching struggles in close games have been very well documented. Very poor record in those close games. This season, earlier in the season, Michigan had a lot of close losses. But as the season's progressed, the games have just been too out of hand, and some of these losses for them to even count as these 3-point or overtime losses. Minute 22, Michigan's going to have the ball with 23 seconds to the shot clock. And still, again, no sign of Doug McDaniel. Very interesting decision. I think it's worked, but it is a very interesting and bold decision. But as Juwan Howard said, he's willing to be bold in these situations, especially with the team's record and their struggles. What do you think of that, Zach?
I mean, they're still running that 2-person big rotation with both Cheddar and Reed in. I don't know whether they're trying to chip away at Crowell, trying to get his 5th foul, trying to remain a big front, but Doug McDaniel will actually check in here into the game for Jalen Llewellyn. and kind of go back to their starting lineup as Cheddar comes out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this situation, you're trying to go maybe a little bit offense, defense.
Yep.
McDaniel, obviously more of an offensive threat. A bit of a liability on the defensive end. McDaniel, but he's been very inefficient today, 5 of 13 from the field. He gets the ball after the inbounds pass by Namari Burnett. Let's see what Michigan draws up here. It's Crowell and McDaniel for the running floater, and it's good. Doug McDaniel comes back into the game and hits a floater off the glass and extends Michigan's lead to 5 points. Wisconsin trying to go quick. Klesmit, and an early foul called there on Klesmit. We'll see who this call goes on, but Klesmit will be heading to the line for a 1-and-1.
Right. And despite, he made his way all the way in and drove, but got what could have been a shooting foul, but is now a 1-and-1, which could end up being very important if he ends up missing this first one.
Yeah, Burnett now with 4 fouls. Michigan's main guy in foul trouble with Trey Jackson already out of the game. Huge free throws here by Max Klesmit. Klesmit, first one's up, and it's good. Big free throws there. Klesmit, very solid free throw shooter, 85.4% on the year, and he makes that first. And this is to cut it to a one-possession game here. The Badgers down 4, trying to cut it to a one-possession game, and that's also good by Klesmit. So it's back to a 3-point game, 1:05 left. Terrence Williams looking to inbound. Wisconsin going a little 2-man press on Kamba and Doug McDaniel. Daniel shakes off Tyler Wall pretty easily and is now going to try to bring the ball up. Chucky Hepburn on Doug McDaniel here with under a minute go here in Crisler Center. McDaniel looking inside, off the glass, and that's no good. Rebound by Chucky Hepburn. Running layup, scoop layup by McDaniel doesn't go, and now Wisconsin with the ball, a chance to tie. Max Klesmit. He won't get anything off as Greg Gard is now going to call timeout. 43.6 seconds to go. 69-66 Michigan. Wisconsin trying to draw something up. Their three-point shooting has been pretty cold, but they have made a couple three-pointers late with Klesmit and A.J. Storr, I believe, also hit the other 3. Storr up to 20 points for Wisconsin, and Hepburn 15. They've kind of used a lot of their perimeter guys to lead the scoring today.
And right before that timeout, we saw Doug McDaniel take a very odd shot selection as it was only about 15 seconds left, so about halfway through that shot clock, and he just kind of drives in and does almost a floater-type layup there and unable to drop and keep it a one-possession game. So not sure that's the best shot selection there from Michigan as there's a lot of time left on the shot clock. Very interesting shot selection.
Exactly. Just a bad situational awareness there by Doug McDaniel. Maybe some of that was through the benching. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Llewellyn come back out here for defensive purposes. McDaniel not as strong on the defensive end, and you need to get a stop here if you're Michigan. So allowing Wisconsin to Wisconsin's timeout, well, I think it was certainly a smart decision by Gard. You want to draw something up, but it might allow Michigan to make some critical subs on defense. And
Namari Burnett is definitely one of Michigan's strongest defensive players. So if he picks up that 5th foul, again, like we've kind of mentioned all night tonight, that depth is going to become very important. If they need to look to their bench to replace Burnett on defense, that could put them in a major deficit as Wisconsin would be able to drive and kind of look what they've been trying to do throughout the entire night.
A.J. Storr will be the inbounder here for the Badgers, trying to draw something up with 23 seconds in the shot clock, 43.6 seconds. Michigan with 18 fouls, so if there is a foul that's not shooting, it will be a one-on-one. Inbound pass goes to Chucky Hepburn, trying to draw something up for Max Klesmit. Max Klesmit now with the ball, trying to drive inside on Namari Burnett. That doesn't work. Tyler Wall passes it to Hepburn with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Hepburn trying to size up Burnett for 3, and that's no good. Rolls off. Terrence Williams with the rebound. Wisconsin deciding whether or not to foul. Michigan going to have to push the ball up quickly to avoid a 10-second violation. As a foul there by Max Klesmit. And now Doug McDaniel going to the free throw line. Michigan now in firm control. A poor offensive possession there by Wisconsin. Great defensive stand by Michigan. Very well contested shot there by Namari Burnett. Not a good look whatsoever by Chucky Hepburn from the top of the key. And now McDaniel going to the line for 2 free throws. Chance to put Michigan up by multiple possessions. First free throw is up. And that rolls off the rim. Hold on to your hats, folks. This game is far from over. This is Michigan basketball. And now let's see what's coming here from McDaniel here on the second free throw attempt. Second free throw up, and that's good. So it's a 2-possession game. Wisconsin going to have to go quick to get something. And Klesmit trying to bring the ball up quick. Screen there by Wall, trying to find something. Can't find anyone. Chucky Hepburn going inside. That is an foul, nearly an and one there. Hepburn, ball kind of rolled in and out. 11.2 seconds now on the shot clock. A 4-point game. It's going to be essential for Hepburn to make both of these free throws, or else Michigan just has to make one on the other end to put it back to a 2-possession game.
Yeah, like you said, if Hepburn's able to make one of these, or is able to make both these shots here, it could keep it a 1-possession game after a foul on the other end.
First free throw up by Hepburn and good. Especially, Michigan's going to very much so try to shroud Terrace Reed, but Terrace Reed is just coming into this game with a 56% free throw percentage. He is not the person that, if you're Michigan, you want to be fouled in this situation when Wisconsin's going to be looking to get a foul. The band trying to intimidate Chucky Hepburn here as the second free throw is up and good. So it was back to a 2-point game here as Terrence Williams looking to inbound the ball. Michigan with one timeout if they can't get the ball in, trying to get it to McDaniel. Williams running the baseline, can't find it, so they are going to resort to a timeout here. Michigan now out of timeouts. That one timeout was critical as they couldn't get the ball in. Williams was running the baseline, but it didn't work, so Michigan's going to have to scheme something up here for McDaniel to really try to get it open and get someone that you want to be fouled, shooting free throws, with the chance to ice the game to be fouled.
And looking at scenarios left here, Michigan just used their final timeout, so they can't make any mistakes on the inbound anymore. They have to be able to get that ball in, and preferably to probably Kamwa or, like you said, Doug McDaniel is probably the player that they're going to look to send to the line. Even though he missed that first shot just now, he's definitely been one of the most reliable players for Michigan. But if Michigan misses one of their free throws, it will still be a 1-possession game at a 3-point game. And so you'd expect Wisconsin to probably call that timeout, maybe set up a play and look for a last-second shot, or maybe even an and one, get a good drive. But
yeah, well, that would be malpractice by Michigan. But I think if you're Michigan, if you go up by 3, not 4, I would try to look to foul before the shot.
Yeah.
You always want to foul, make sure that they don't get a shot up, play the foul game, and they'll eventually run out of time. As now Michigan has 2 players. They're all behind the line. And the inbounds will go to Terrence Williams, so they're all behind, going to try to spread out and stack. Terrace Reed not in the game. They're all trying to run. Get it to Doug McDaniel, a little slant play. McDaniel gets fouled before he gets it up to Olivier Kamwa. Was running tight on the baseline there, a little bit dangerous, but kind of the speed and finesse of McDaniel allowed him to kind of evade that, get fouled, and now he's going to the line with the chance, with 9.9 seconds left, Wisconsin just with the one timeout, a chance to really try to seal this game if he makes both of these. McDaniel now at the line. First free throw is up, and that's good. Huge free throw there by Doug McDaniel. Now it's a 3-point game, and now this is a critical second free throw to potentially make it a 2-possession game with 9.9 seconds to go. Doug McDaniel's free throw is up, and then it rolls around, and it's good. It is a 2-possession game with 9.9 seconds. Chucky Hepburn bringing the ball up quick for the Badgers, trying to get something to go. Klesmet for 3, and that is off. It is off. And no fouls called, and Michigan is going to win the game, 72-68. The Wolverines snatch a signature upset win of the season, snap their significant losing drought, and get a crucial win in Big Ten play, their 3rd win in Conference Play of the Year, and their first ranked win of the season.
This is a very exciting win for the Michigan faithful, dropping 9 of their last 10 games. The last win they had was back in Crisler Center against Ohio State. And like I said, they've dropped 9 of their last 10. So while maybe this don't matter too much in the big scheme of things, Wisconsin now on 3 straight losses and Michigan picking up a ranked win. This could mean something for a program that's really struggled within the last couple months here.
A big morale boost for Michigan. They've only won 1 game since December 16th against Eastern Michigan. As you mentioned, that came against Ohio State on MLK Day. The Fab 5 here. But a massive win for Michigan. Played very good down the stretch, avoided those critical mistakes, and just found a way to win, got up 2 possessions. When Wisconsin had a chance to kind of take the lead, or tie or take the lead, they never were able to get anything really strong together. Had that missed 3 at the top of the key that was well contested by Chucky Hepburn. Michigan able to come away with the win. Your leading scorers here tonight, Doug McDaniel 16 points, Terrace Reed 12 points, Terrence Williams 8 points, Olivier Nkamwa with 12 rebounds on his 8 points. And Amari Burnett, while he only had 8 points, he had some excellent defense. Wisconsin had a lot of those higher scoring players in their starting lineup, with A.J. Storr with 20, Chucky Hepburn with 17, and Tyler Wall with 12, Klesmet with 10. So their starting lineup played well, but ultimately crowd getting into foul trouble and just their inability to get some of those stops. really contributed to a signature upset win for Michigan.
What we saw in that first half with Wisconsin getting those drives in, but needing to take Crowell out in the second half, I think is what really made that offense struggle for Wisconsin. And their three-point percentage really, really not strong. They went 26.3% on 5 of 19 from deep, and 2 of those were pretty late in that second half, maybe trying to string a couple together, but Michigan at that point was up by just enough, I believe up by 9 at one point. And Wisconsin's 2 threes just wasn't enough to bring that game back within reach, as Michigan kept the lead for the majority of that second half and really only was down at those first couple 10 or so minutes when it was going back and forth.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just documented Wisconsin's three-point struggles. They got a couple late, but were certainly not enough. But also points off turnovers is a critical deal. Both teams had 12 turnovers, so Michigan had 15 points off turnovers compared to Wisconsin's 9, which means Michigan was able to limit Wisconsin's kind of transition offense, especially later on in the second half. And just a very critical win for Michigan, beating a very talented Wisconsin team. Might drop now down to a 4 seed, but still a very strong tournament team. Easily a team that you could see playing in the Sweet 16 Elite 8. And, anyone that gets hot in the tournament can make a Final Four run. But, on the Wisconsin side, this is a critical loss. It's going to probably bump him down to the 4 line now. Just a very bad week, starting with the loss last Thursday against Nebraska, loss against Purdue at home, and now this bad road loss against the worst team in the Big Ten. And now it's a have-to-have-it game against Rutgers on Saturday.
And Michigan's next matchup, as you mentioned, at Nebraska, where, again, that team has gone undefeated at home. So look to see if maybe they can take a little bit of momentum that they gained here in their first-ranked win. But you never really know with this Michigan team. And they rewrote the script tonight. They were able to hold on to that lead, maybe lost it at times, but keep it a very close game. And so rewriting the script, they win by 4, 72-68. Very exciting win for all the Michigan fans here in Crisler Center.
Exactly. It's, if you're a Michigan fan, it's almost like you forget what winning basketball feels like. And now this is, since the start of 2024, Michigan basketball now finally has the same amount of wins as Michigan football, as Michigan picking up just their second win in the new year. Michigan football, obviously, with the championship run. But, yeah, no, this has been a very exciting game. Critical have-to-have-it win for Michigan, and a nice little morale boost for that locker room. The team found a way to respond after Juwan Howard publicly called him out, and they got it done. And I think that'll wrap up our broadcast. My name is Joshua Brown, and my partner is Zach Edwards. And thank you so much for listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Have a good night, and go Blue.